What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's HBT, man. Harry Bernard Taylor with the Straight Up Wrestling Show. I'm going to wait on my man, Christopher Burton. I'm waiting on my man, Christopher Burton. But hey, guys, we are here. Man, we are here live, and we're going to talk about wrestlers, man. We're going to talk about wrestlers that caught our attention while we was growing up. I'm going to talk about some wrestlers from the 70s, and we're going to talk about wrestlers from the 80s on up, all the way up to modern day. But, man, Christopher Burton's going to come in. And pretty much, we're going to start off with the guys that caught our attention first in wrestling, man, that grabbed our attention, grabbed at your heartstrings, guys. So we'll be talking about that, and we're going to bring in some people, man. Hopefully we'll be bringing in some people. When Chris get in here, we're going to send a link out. And so if you guys want to come in, you want to talk about, wrestlers that grabbed your attention, wrestlers that you like, man, you definitely welcome to talk about that or talk about it in the comments, guys. Definitely talk about it in the comments. All right, my man Rocky Shaw is in the house. Robert Brown, all the way from Lafayette, Indiana, is in the house. All right. Appreciate you guys, man. JL is in the house. Facebook user is cracking up. I think that's my man, 12 Gauge. JL is in the house. And, guys, I'll be checking on that in just a little bit. Look like Chris is on a phone call. He must got something important going on. Later on, we're going to go over some Black History Month. We're going to talk about black wrestlers. And we're going to have a couple guests on. We're going to have the legendary Joe Wheeler on in the house with us. Probably I'm going to see if I can get Scott Larson in. We're going to have my man Reggie, Maestro Reggie in. So we're going to have some, it's not just going to be black panelists on here. We're going to have white panelists too. We're going to talk about black wrestlers tonight, guys, because it's Black History Month. That's something that we should have done a couple years ago. Never have gotten a chance to. Always been wanting to roll it out. And we want to talk about the best black wrestlers ever. So we definitely going to do that tonight. And I guess we will include the women. That's one thing that first I wasn't going to do. All right, Christopher Burton said he'll be on in a few. All right, but yeah, Chris will be on. But I'm just going to start off anyway. I'm going to start off and talk about the wrestlers, man, that I grew up with. But yeah, Chris sending me some messages, man. But yeah, he'll be on here in just a little bit, guys. But yeah, appreciate you coming in, rocking with the Straight Up Wrestling Show. Hey, there's a lot to unpack. We will be on here for a couple hours. So we'll be on here for a while, guys. We'll be on here more than a couple hours, man. And like I said, we'll be talking about. All right, it's my man. Okay, Skrilla the Great. Facebook user says Skrilla the Great. I think that's my man Rocky Shaw saying that. But let me go over here and chat. Plus, like I say, I want to look and see how everything is going over here with my live, guys. If you guys see that I'm lagging or anything, let me know because I don't have the pictures up or anything like that. Well, I see so far. All right, my man Rocky Shaw says Chad Skywalker. Chad Skywalker's not bad. Yeah, you definitely can talk about some of these guys tonight, man. You can even talk about local black wrestlers, but we will be talking about that tonight, man. We will be talking about, hey, and I'm going all the way back. I'm going back and talking about the Ernie Lads. I'm talking about the Tony Atlases and people like that. I'm talking about the Ron Simmonses. I'm talking about those type of guys. We will talk about those guys tonight. But right now, man, I want to talk about guys who started me off in this game, who started me off liking professional wrestling, who pretty much attracted my attention first. Those are the guys, man, I'm pretty much going to talk about. And Chris going to talk about the guys who grabbed his attention. And the first person that grabbed my attention in wrestling was a guy called Brute Bernard. His name was Brute Bernard. And if you can look in the thumbnail, it's a guy, he looked like George the Animal Steele. That's not George the Animal Steele. His name was Brute Bernard. And the first reason that he caught my attention was he used the name Bernard. That's my middle name, and that's what my grandma called me, and that's who I first started watching wrestling with, man. My grandma and my aunts and uncles, they got me, they got my attention, first got my attention in wrestling. I was only like 4 or 5 years old, and I'm like, who is this guy? His name was Brute Bernard, and that was way back, guys. That was way back. Believe it or not, 71, first time I was watching wrestling, I was only 4 years old, so 71, 72. And so first person that I saw was my man Brute Bernard, and Brute Bernard was, not just the name. I mean, he was a scary looking dude, and he was over there. He was biting the turnbuckles and everything. He was scary. He was just like, and nobody wanted to mess with him. Wrestlers stayed away from him. This dude was scary, man. He was over there biting turnbuckles and doing all kind of crazy things. That, among that, he was biting wrestlers. So Brute Bernard is the first guy, man, that really caught my attention in wrestling. Then we had a guy, I didn't put him in the thumbnail, but Nelson Royal, because he was always on East Coast television. He was always on Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Every time you turn around, Nelson Royal was coming out and he was wrestling. He was a senior member in the wrestling community. And I mean, but he was still wrestling, doing his thing, pretty much a junior heavyweight. But he was doing his thing. So Nelson Royal is the next guy who really caught my attention. Then you had George and Sandy Scott. George Scott, of course, George Scott is the legendary booker for Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling in the NWA, pretty much Jim Crockett Promotions. And he was a legendary, put together great cards for years. So he caught my attention very early. But between 72, 74, the George Scott and Sandy Scott, they was in so many tag team matches. So I really paid attention to those guys because they was on there. Now, I really didn't care for wrestling. I really was not a wrestling fan, man, when it boils down to it. When my brother was watching this stuff. He was watching it back when I was a kid. And I was like, I'd say 4 or 5 years old. I didn't really want to watch wrestling. And my aunts, uncles did watched it. With my grandma, they was big fans. I was sitting there playing with my army man, playing with cowboys and Indians. That's the stuff I want. Matchbox cars. That's what I wanted to do while he was watching wrestling. But when my brother was watching it, I wanted to watch Gilligan's Island or cartoons. Cartoons was basically would go off when wrestling came on. So that's the only thing I liked on TV was cartoons when I was like 4 years old. And then I like Gilligan's Island. That's the only thing I liked that was realism TV that had people on it. So I wanted to watch Gilligan's Island, and wrestling was coming on in our area same time Gilligan's Island was on, and then I think Andy Griffin came on after that, and I did kind of like that a little bit too. So I didn't really want to watch this wrestling, but my brother would not turn it off. He wouldn't turn it off. So I was forced to listen to it and still see it. I'll be on the floor playing or whatever, and I still see it. I remember, like I said, I remember Nelson Royal, George and Sandy Scott, Brute Bernard. These are the people that caught my attention when I was a kid around 4 years old, man. They just grabbed your attention because they was on the set a lot. And Johnny Weaver is another one. He was on the set a lot too, and he commentated and he wrestled, but he was a great wrestler. And what caught my attention about him, he would put you in that sleeper hole and he would put you out so fast. There was other people that used the sleeper hole, but I never saw anybody, even though I started seeing other territories, I never seen anybody put you to sleep as fast as Johnny Valentine. Not Johnny Valentine, Johnny Weaver. And speaking of Johnny Valentine, he came around in 1974. I was 7 years old. I was understanding what wrestling was a lot more at that time. I was in second grade, 7 years old, and Johnny Weaver came in. I mean, he was a menace, man. He was just killing people with that elbow. This guy was rough, tough wrestler. And then we had Chief Wahoo McDaniel, who was in the area, who came in the area, and they got into a feud. And those are the guys who really built the Mid-Atlantic Championship area, Jim Crockett Promotions. They built it up. To where it just became a phenomenon, just huge. Those guys, because Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Johnny Valentine would just basically kill each other in the ring. And you're talking about somebody who could chop. You want to talk about the hardest chops ever. Chief Wahoo McDaniel. Gunther reminds me a lot of him. Now, Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Johnny Valentine. Gunther reminds me of Johnny Valentine as far as a wrestler, his stature, the way he looked, and everything in the ring. If you go back into YouTube, you probably can find some old Johnny Valentine footage. Johnny Valentine, Gunther reminds me a lot of Johnny Valentine. Johnny Valentine, one of the toughest wrestlers I ever seen. You definitely might want to check him out, man. But let me grab some of these comments because I got them piling up. My man Robert Brown from Lafayette, Indiana, all the way in the building. What's happening? What's up, Robert? Glad that you joined. My man Rocky Shaw is in the house. The 12 gauge Rocky Shaw. Appreciate you coming in, Rocky. JL, well, to answer the title of the video, is this open to discussion? Yes, sir. Definitely open to discussion. You definitely can talk about, man, basically your favorite wrestlers. That's the one I want to know. I want to know the first wrestler, man, that caught your attention, that really pulled you into the sport. And tell me the second and third and fourth, the guys that really caught your attention. All right, my man, Rocky Shaw is cracking up. J.L. Harrington, was Hogan a heart stringer for you? Heck no, man, no. I'll tell you about Hogan in just a little bit, but for Chris, that was his first wrestler that he watched, Hogan against Iron Sheik. So, yeah, he definitely would tell you that. By the time Hogan came in, man, I was like 13 years old when I first saw Hogan. I was 13 years old when I first saw Hogan, and I was like, okay, he's impressive, but there was wrestlers before him that looked like him that he pretty much pulled his gimmick off of. He pulled his gimmick off of Superstar Billy Graham. I knew who Superstar Billy Graham was. There was Austin Idol was Austin Idol was out there. He had that look. So there was other wrestlers out there who already had that look, and pretty much he took from that. He took from that gimmick. He took from Dusty Rhodes as far as his talking. He took from, and hey, Ric Flair was a power wrestler at one time too. Ken Patera. Those guys had that type of gimmick. So Hulk Hogan really did not strike me. Besides that, he was tall and he was bigger than those guys because he was taller. He was a big guy. But, talking about his 23-inch pythons, 22-inch pythons, he took that off of Superstar Billy Graham. So he really didn't strike me that much, JL. JL said, I feel like I don't need to explain who is my wrestler who stood out to me. Of course, man, Braun Breaker right now, but was Braun Breaker the guy who pulled you into the sport, JL? I don't think so. Is he? I mean, unless you started watching the sport like a year and a half ago or whatever, he's not the guy that pulled you into the sport. But yeah, for right now, yeah, of course. And Braun Breaker is one of these guys that keep me going. So that's a part of this discussion. Who are the guys who keep you going and looking at the sport? Braun Breaker is one of those guys that do that. No doubt. Robert Brown, swerve for the God. All right. Robert Brown, swerve. Yeah, swerve for the goal. Okay. All right. Facebook user says Skrilla the Great. That's my man, Rocky Shaw. Skrilla the Great, man. Great wrestler out there rocking the house in Georgia. Black wrestler. All right. Robert Brown, thoughts on the new Ashley Masario accusations. Man, look, I don't know about all that. And I'll tell you the truth. With Stephanie, she had something to say about, they say Stephanie was involved in that too. Hey, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that right there is just it's gonna get crazy. It's gonna get crazy. And if Stephanie's involved, man, the whole McMahon group might be out of wrestling. Who knows? Who knows how far that goes? Straight up, Robert. All right, JL says Hakeem, the African Dream, is an honorary African. All right, man. You know what? Hakeem started out in Spartanburg, South Carolina, a county over from me. He's from South Carolina. Hakeem the Dream, one-man gang. Man, I loved him as Hakeem the Dream, but one-man gang, he's always one-man gang to me. Great wrestler. But yeah, he's one of these guys that really caught my attention. I really didn't care for him because his physique that much as a wrestler. Of course, not just because he's big, but the way he was built really didn't, I figured if I was big like that, my physique probably be like that because I'm pretty, slender on the backside or whatever until you get to my legs or whatever. But from the gluteus, let me just say buttocks because I can't say gluteus maximus right now. But from that part right there, I'm not as thick right there. So in one man gangs like that, and he got that big stomach, which take away even more of that. Yeah, he's got a funny build to him, but I started liking him, especially when he became Hakeem the Dream. But honorary African or whatever, man. Hey, he might got African blood in him. Most likely he do. Mostly all of us got something else in us. We got European. We all mixed. Most of us all mixed. Most of us, not everybody. Chad Skywalker. All right, yeah, definitely. Chad's a pretty good guy, man. A good talk to. When we talk to him, very good guy. JL, Dwayne Johnson is half black. Yes, he is. He's half black. That's one thing that WWE kind of, even though they were showing Rocky Soulman Johnson as his dad, they still tried to keep that. It's like they was trying to keep it secret for some reason. I don't know. It was crazy. All right, yeah, not just him. Yeah, man. Guy came. I'm not sure if that's how to pronounce his name, but he is very good. Short guy, very quick, very explosive. Rocky, he's something special, man. He's something special. Rocky Brown. Don't be surprised if Sonny's starting to get out of prison. Robert, I wouldn't be shocked, man. And you know what? Sonny could make up all kind of stories now. Right now, she could be in a position to make up all kind of stories. Who knows if they're going to be true or not, man, when it boils down to it. But we know, I mean, this girl right here, her credibility is kind of shot, to tell you the truth. Hey, she will be, I'm sure if all that stuff was going down on her, she was down with it. Because, man, she seemed like she loved that type of stuff, but I don't think she's into all that humiliation and all that stuff. And some of the other stuff that Vince was into too, because we know she wasn't down with the Brown. Straight up. So some of the things she wouldn't have liked. JL says a clean turnbuckle bite by Brute Bernard. Yeah, man, that Brute Bernard is something, guys. You guys need to look back and check out some of his old videos. He was something. Robert Brown, if this was 4 to 5 months ago, did you even see Ric Flair walk off the Kill Tony comedy show? Nah, I didn't see that, man. Wow. All right, JL, Braun Breaker, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Big E. Okay, Braun Breaker, man, I can see that. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Big E. So John Cena was the one who basically got you in. Big E kept you going. Then you had Brock Lesnar, and then you got Braun Breaker, man. So, and you saw Braun Breaker. Hey, that was the coup de grace for you. That was your Ric Flair moment for you. All right, like Ric Flair was mine. I say Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair. All right, JL, I started watching wrestling in 2013, so my list is from that era. Okay, cool. Mag Magnum says, greetings, Harry, and the Straight Up Wrestling family. Mag, my man Mag Magnum in the house. Mag, definitely list your top 5 wrestlers, man. Guys that first grabbed your heartstrings and pulled you into wrestling. I definitely like to hear that because, I mean, you were the same age, so that right there is definitely gonna, definitely, I definitely like to hear yours. And Robert Brown says Stone Cold and The Rock. Okay, Stone Cold and The Rock for Robert Brown. I'm a man, Ray Underwood. Harry, what is your thoughts on them saying Triple H and Stephanie McMahon may be coming up on charges also? Wow. Because they all knew what was going on, even Vince's wife. Lord, wow, man. Ray, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. You know, I know Stephanie, they were saying covered up some stuff, but I don't know if they want to throw Triple H in there. They might. If they do, and hey, I guess they'll have no choice when it boils down to it. And if Triple H is out of the company and Stephanie, they're not going to have any choice but to maybe put Rock, have him doing a lot more stuff. But hey, we don't know how deep it goes with Rock when it boils down to it. But Rock might be trying to use his influence. We know he got a lot of influence as far as in Hollywood. He's got a lot of influences with a lot of politicians. So we'll see how far it goes with Rock too. Because hey, Rock, you better believe Rock was close with Vince McMahon. Rock probably know a lot of things, but I don't think Rock was involved in it. But he probably know a lot of things. You know, Stephanie McMahon wasn't involved in it either, but she was covering up. Of course, she's not going to be involved in the scandalous things that a husband is doing. I'm not a husband, but a daddy is doing. But she covered things up. And, you know, and Linda, yeah, I'm sure she got word of it, man. But that's just flat out crazy, Ray. Flat crazy. And Ray, you might want to come on. We might want to bring you on a little bit tonight, man, because I would love to hear. Let's look for our show at 7:30 tonight, man. We're gonna do the best black wrestlers ever, or the greatest black wrestlers, and I definitely would like to hear your thoughts on that. JL, yeah, right now it's Breaker that keeps me excited to watch wrestling, especially SmackDown. I've always been a fan of the bigger guys than Ziggler, Punk, Sevington, or is it just me? Hey, the bigger guys are what wrestling was about. Back in the day, JL, if you was under 200 pounds, man, you could forget it. Now there was some wrestlers that might have been 180 or whatever, 190. But man, if you was under 200 pounds, most likely you wasn't going to be a professional wrestler back in the day. They just wouldn't take you. Not even on the independent scene, these outlaw shows. They wouldn't take you, man. That's how it was back in the day. All right, JL, they never acknowledge Rock as half black. He's half Samoan and half African. They pick and choose. That's true, JL. That's true. But Dwayne Johnson, he done pretty much said it. You know, and plus, they done put Rocky Soulman Johnson up there so many times, man. Everybody know who his dad is. I mean, like I said, it doesn't take a genius to figure out. You can't look at Rocky Soulman Johnson and think he's not Samoan. And think he's not black. You can't look at him and say he's not black. He's just as brown as I am. You know, hey, he's just as brown as all of us, man. Or black as hey, he's black as all of us. So I mean, yeah, he's definitely a black guy, man. So you cannot deny that. And you know, that was basically Rock, man. I mean, not Rock, but that was basically Vince McMahon, straight up. But hey, it's no big deal right now. It's no big deal. I mean, all right. JL says the McMahons are sketchy. Honestly, there's been so many claims from multiple people, ranging from decades, all saying the same thing. Yeah, that's true. It's tough to imagine every single one of them are fake, all consistent. That's true. That's true, man. Like I say, I wouldn't have never known that Vince McMahon was like that, man. I wouldn't have never thought that he would be at that level of, you know, of debauchery. I mean, it was just flat out crazy. It blows my mind. All right, JL, Big E Langston was great. It's a shame they ruined his career being a cookie cutter tag partner. No doubt, JL. JL, Johnny Ace is a little snake in the grass, throws everyone under the bus, no loyalty. He reps the rewards and runs from the consequences of his actions, no honor. Yeah, that that right there, man. We just call guys like that punks, man. Hey, if you do something and you can't stand up for it and say, "Hey, I did it," man, you're a punk. That's some punk. That's some punk actions, and like you said, man, that's no loyalty. That's a coward. That's a coward. Even hey, no grown man, Vince McMahon. I'm not convinced that he can make this guy do that. I know that he might have been making a whole bunch of money, and Vince had side money for him. But man, that junk is just flat crazy. All right, Robert Brown says, I know I've talked about it on this channel or not. Triple H, did you ever hear about Triple H versus Christy Hemme? They tangled around for some time, and Matt Edge Lita situation was worse. Triple H wanted Edge fired for it. Wow, man. Wow. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember that situation when it was going on. All right, Ray Underwood, Ernie Ladd, great wrestler. No doubt. Bearcat Wright, great wrestler too. Yes, Ernie Ladd, man. Ernie Ladd probably, that's an argument for him being the best black wrestler ever. Hey, Ernie Ladd, Bearcat Wright too. He's in that conversation. Tony Atlas. Bearcat Wright gets credited for the first black wrestler to win a world championship, to tell you the truth. He was credited before Ron Simmons actually won. But the WWA was pretty much like an outlaw promotion, even though it was a big promotion out there in San Francisco. They had broke away from the NWA. So that's the reason why it gets shot down, that he was actually the world champion, because the NWA world champion traveled all over the world. All right. Yeah, Robert Brown, John Laurinaitis, a rat. Yeah, no doubt. But guys, let me get back, man. Like I say, I'll continue to answer your questions and everything. But let me go over here and check on Facebook, see what's going on there. But yeah, so who have I talked about, man, besides Brute Bernard? Brute Bernard was the first one that grabbed my attention in wrestling. And I talked about Art. I talked about Nelson Royal, and I talked about George and Sandy Scott. Guys, man, and then in 1975, man, something happened when I was 8 years old. I think it was either 74, 75. I'm pretty sure in 1975, I saw a man named Boris Malenko. A man of 1,000 hoes. Now, that's Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko's father. Dean Malenko, we know, was known as the man of 1,000 hoes. Great technical wrestler. There was a guy named Boris Malenko, his dad. He was outstanding. He wrestled. He was on TV. He was wrestling Chief Wahoo McDaniel. Chief Wahoo McDaniel knocked Boris Malenko's teeth out. Knocked it out during the match. Man, chopped him so hard. Man, chopped him in the mouth, and his teeth just went flying all over the ring. And everybody, man, we went out. Soon as wrestling was over, you go outside. Every kid in the neighborhood. I'm talking. We used to walk for miles back in the day. My man Magnum, I'm gonna tell you that. My man Ray Underwood, you go walking for miles in your neighborhood. You go to other neighborhoods. Every kid in every neighborhood was talking about that, man. Especially if you was a boy. Now, I'm not all the females, but I was 8 years old. We was all talking about that match, man. We was talking about Chief Wahoo McDaniel knocking out Boris Malenko. And Boris Malenko was a menace, man. But he knocked his teeth out, and why Chief Wahoo McDaniel. All right, my man Christopher Burton. But man, Wahoo McDaniel knocked Boris Malenko, Dean Malenko's dad's teeth completely out. Knocked probably about 4 or 5 teeth out of his mouth, went flying and went all over the ring. And that's when I decided at that time that, hey, I was going to watch this. I was going to continue to watch wrestling, even though for like 2 to 3 years, my brother, like I said, played wrestling. He every Saturday he was watching wrestling. My aunts every Saturday, every Sunday when I was with them watching wrestling, and my grandma. I didn't pay attention to it. I was like I said, I was playing with Army Men. I was playing with Cowboys and Indians, and playing with my Matchbox cars. I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention to the wrestling, what was going on. The names, like I said, George and Sandy Scott, Nelson Royal, Brute Bernard, those Johnny Weaver, Johnny Valentine, those names pop up. But Wahoo McDaniel, once he chopped my man not Dean Malenko, but Boris Malenko, and knocked his teeth out, I paid attention to it ever since then. But Christopher Burton is in the house. What's up?
What's going on, y'all, man? I was looking at some doggone homemade hamburgers and French fries. Boy, I had to get my eat on real quick, man.
But ain't nothing like those homemade hamburgers, man. But yeah, bro, welcome to the Straight Up Wrestling Show, man. I'm glad that you in the house. Welcome to the Straight Up Wrestling Show to all of you. But Chris gonna come in here, man. He's gonna talk about what started him in wrestling. But I'm gonna get a few more comments here. because we had them done, but we had finished them. But yeah, let me go and get some more comments. My man Magnum says, my first moments of watching wrestling, I was into Bulldog Bob Brown. Wow, man, Bulldog Bob Brown, man. I remember Bulldog Bob Brown, and I just actually yesterday I was listening to a podcast. Yesterday I was listening to Dutch Mantel's podcast, and Dutch Mantel, I had seen this before, but I really never paid attention to it because Dutch, Dutch don't like it. Dutch hated it. And Dutch was talking about how the man didn't have any talent. Dutch just dogged him, said he was the worst professional wrestler ever and everything like that. Bulldog Bob Brown was not the worst professional wrestler ever, but he wasn't the greatest. He was pretty good, but that's the one thing that back in the day, Mag, you could be a mediocre professional wrestler. But I mean, Bob Brown won championships. You could be mediocre. You could be at the bottom of the barrel. But you had people like Rocky King who had huge fans. People was huge fans of his. People was huge fans of the Mokies. That was different back then. Now, hey, people, you got to be on the top. And people, they'll switch. But back then, man, definitely. All right, did you say Ernie the Cat Ladd? Straight up. Ernie the Cat Ladd was something else. And Ric Flair moved to Texas and really got into Magnum TA and the Freebirds and Sting. Okay, all right, man. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Robert Brown, did you ever hear about Ric Flair drip calling Teddy Long the N-word? I heard about that, Robert. And me and Chris, we talked to Teddy Long, and Teddy Long talking about that too, then and there. But hey, one thing about it, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. My deal is this. That's one thing Teddy won't get off of. Rick's been around a lot of black wrestlers. He's been around a lot of people. I've never heard anybody else say this. Never heard anybody else say this. Not saying Teddy is lying. I don't think he's lying. Rick probably did say it. Rick probably got mad and said that. I don't know. But I know Rick has been around a lot of black wrestlers, and my family has had Ric Flair. My grandmother, who was a huge Ric Flair fan, we went and saw him every Monday night when he was a younger guy. Him, Black Jack Mulligan, every Monday night at the Greenville Auditorium, invited him to dinner. He came to dinner, man, and sat down with our family and treated me like the greatest kid ever. So it was a joy sitting there with Ric Flair. And even though I was afraid of Black Jack Mulligan, because that was an intimidating job. Big as a house, man. Barry Windham's dad. I was afraid of him, man, but he was nice on the word to me too, even though I was afraid of him. But Ric Flair, cool, big man at that time. But yeah, Ric Flair, nice guy. Always greeted my family. Man, my grandma hugged my grandma, loved my grandma. Came over to the house and and cooked for my grandma. Got to ride in the back of the car with him and Black Jack Mulligan. She went around town, and when they one time they left the auditorium, drove her down to the hotel where they were staying, and she got out and she got in with us, but she went down there with him, having a conversation. Why would he do that? Hey, there's an old black lady, man. Well, she was in her 50s, she was like 51, 52 back then, but still, why would he do that? He didn't have to do that. Exactly. He had a whole bunch of there was thousands of other white fans too that was there, man, that was clamoring for his attention. But he will walk over those. He walk past those people, push them to the side to get to my grandmother and hug her. So, and my my grandma, she just dark as me and Chris. So, so straight up, man. So straight up, I Teddy, but there's people still say crazy things. They do. They just do.
People gonna say whatever they want to say, man.
Yeah, and even
sometimes their true feelings gonna come out, man.
Even people in our race, man. Black people in our race. My brother, man, my brother Antonio, grew up. Some of his best friends was white, man. Hanging out with him. Come home one day, talking about, man, them crackers ain't, calling them crackers, calling them huggies, and all that stuff. Man, doing stuff like that. He didn't really mean that. But if somebody pissed him off or whatever, he might be talking about another white person said something to him that he didn't like. But that didn't mean he was racist. So Robert, I hear that stuff from Teddy Long, and me and Chris, we sat down there with him, and of course might be a touch of racism back then, man. That was a touch of racism with just about everybody, man. It just was something. I mean, you look at the TV shows, The Jeffersons, man. You look at All in the Family, man. It just was.
And they said Ole Anderson was the worst, boy.
Oh, Ole Anderson was bad. Oh, I know Ole Anderson was doing that.
But they said he was the absolute worst. But they was like talk about Ole, boy, like he was leading the Klan, boy.
Yeah, he was. Hey, Dick Murdoch was in it. So it was American culture, man. It was was it right? No, it wasn't right.
No, it wasn't right. But that's how it was for that particular time and era, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. And Robert Brown says, Chris, what's happening? Robert Brown, bet you full now, huh, Chris?
Oh yeah, boy, yeah, man. I still got half a hamburger left, boy. I can't even touch that thing right now, boy.
Yeah, Robert Brown said Ric Flair never refuted it, and I wouldn't have. And that's what me and Chris done talked about before. Why should he? I wouldn't say nothing. And that right there has suited him well. Not saying anything. He don't have to say anything. I mean, once he say something about it, then people go, Ric Flair would have been in the same boat as Hulk Hogan. So yeah, the best thing, like I say, just keep your mouth shut. I mean, you know, like I say, this man proved to there's a reason why Snoop Dogg and all these guys love him. Ric Flair used to hang out with James Worthy. He used to go up there and hang out with superstars. I mean, black superstars all the time back in the 80s and 90s. You know, this guy was known for that. So I'm just like, hey, he might have said that. I can't dispute what. And Teddy Long is so adamant about it, still to this day. Still to this day. He's hardcore on it. And do I believe him? Yeah, I believe him. But I'm like, come on, Teddy, what did you do that pissed this man off so bad? Why don't we hear all these black wrestlers that performed over the years that's been around him, and other black celebrities, other black people come out and say, man, that guy's the racist I ever seen in my life. Why don't we hear that, Robert? I never heard Ron Simmons say it. I never heard Butch Reed say it. All I heard was Teddy Long. So I got Teddy Long's word for it. But Teddy Long, man, I've heard Teddy Long say some things about other things too that was kind of like controversial as far as racism. And I'm just like, man, I'm not hearing the same stuff that Teddy is saying. So I'm kind of like, Teddy, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I like Teddy, man. I like Teddy. But yeah, that's not saying that Teddy's not lying, but I believe him. I'm gonna believe him. All we can do is take his word for it. Right, Chris?
That's it, man.
Man, Scott says bullet. People say he was Bob Armstrong. Lies. I tell you, lies. You're a trip, man. You're a trip, man. Why? The Bullet Bob Armstrong, man. He's the Bullet, man. What are you talking about, Scott?
Man, Scott saying them two different people, boy, just like Elijah and Elijah, boy. Two different people, boy.
Yeah, Elijah and what is the other one? Man, what is his name? Whatever. Elias and Elijah. Yeah. All right, Robert Brown says, I almost got for Ole Anderson was racist too. Yeah, Ole ain't no doubt, man. Ole will tell you, he probably tell you racist, man. Right, no doubt. Ray Underwood, Harry, Chris, what about Sweet Daddy Sika from Greensboro, North Carolina? Like, man, look, he was really good.
That's Harry. I don't know nothing about him.
I mean, look, Chris ain't not gonna really know about him. He was really good, man, but he didn't wrestle a lot in the Carolinas after the 60s, late 60s or whatever, 70s, early 70s. He pretty much went up in the Texas area, man, and pretty much wrestled out in Texas, Memphis, places like that. So Chris is not going to know a lot about him. I started seeing him mostly in the late 80s. I knew about him in the 70s. Really good, very good wrestler. But he started going around the country that he wasn't, if he was in Georgia a lot and he was in the Carolinas, I would know more about him. And he was in WWE, I would know more about him. But I do know about him. I saw him wrestle. And the last place I saw him wrestle was Global Championship Wrestling. Went over there with Harlem Heat and all those guys. But he was over there in the late 80s when he was on ESPN, man. I loved it. He was, he had that gray hair. His hair was gray all the time. He was dyed gray. But dude was really good. George, Sweet Daddy Sika was really good. But for some reason, he did not go into the territories, I believe, that could have got him to the top. He should have came and wrestled in the Carolinas for the most part, and maybe Georgia Championship Wrestling, because they was pushing the black wrestlers the farthest, if you ask me. WWE did a pretty good job at that, too. Robert Brown, have you heard about Ole Anderson's shoot interview dissing Ric Flair? Yeah, I know all about that, man. He can't stand Rick. But Ole has never liked Rick. Never liked Rick, even though you put him in that gimmick.
The only reason he did it, man, because of the money, man. That's the only reason he did it, because of the money, man. Because he knew, okay, I see Rick gonna draw money. He's gonna make us money. That's the only reason I'm going along with this thing.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for that, forget it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Black Jack Mulligan had to knock Ole Anderson out. He knocked him completely out, punched him out because he said something about Ric Flair one time, man. And Black Jack Mulligan and Ric Flair was running together. That jump's crazy. All right, Robert Brown, Matt Bourne's daughter said Bam Bam and her dad was doing drugs together. And what's worse, allegedly Bam Bam on Bourne got him fired. Yeah. Matt Bourne was crazy, man. He was out there. Bam Bam was too. All right, Robert Brown, Ole didn't like nobody. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't, man.
I mean, Ole Anderson, whatever you tell me about Ole Anderson.
Man, can you imagine now if him and Bill Watts was running WCW, boy?
Oh God.
That thing would have been out of business within a month.
Well, to tell you the truth, man, I don't know about that. Ole, man, Ole was a pretty good businessman. He ran Georgia.
But Harry, man, I mean that.
Man, no, he ran Georgia for 4 years, Chris, and they made money big time. They made money big time, Chris. I'm not gonna say that about Ole Anderson. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna sit here and say Ole Anderson don't know what he's doing.
But I'm just saying, but Harry, during that time, Ole was booking but during that time, WCW was not the WCW he knew. It wasn't 1984 when he was running it, man. The talent and people thinking different, man. WCW was on the downslide.
Ole Anderson wasn't running. Ole Anderson wasn't booking WCW.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm saying he wasn't running it. But the time Ole was running it, he was trying to run it like it was 1984, and that wasn't gonna happen. That's when it started downsliding. That's when they was on the downslide
after they fired Dusty Rhodes, when Dusty Rhodes, because Dusty Rhodes, the eye thing, with Road Warriors, they fired him, and Ole came back. Yeah, Ole was trying. Yeah, he was, man. He was old school. He was in his mid-50s, late 50s, and yeah, his ideas were still caught up into when
that wasn't working because you had all these young dudes coming in, man. Brian Pillman and all them cats coming in, and Stone Cold and all them. Well, Steve Austin and all them, and they had a different way of thinking.
Yeah, they did.
That was not gonna fly.
No, that wasn't flying back then, man. Of course, like I say, look, everybody run into a dry spell. He was at a dry spell at that time, and look, one thing about when you get older, as an older person in business, you have to keep your ears open. You got to keep your mind open. It's up to you as a manager. When I used to manage all these companies and things, it's up to you. You got to find the person that has the best strength for what department to put them in. That's what a manager should do. That's what somebody like Vince McMahon, you find somebody, who running the whole company. You got to have if you don't have the intelligence, if you don't have the gift of seeing a person, people that's the strongest in your company. Like, say, if I got 20 employees, I have to see their strengths and weaknesses. Oh, yeah. You watch them and say, okay, you're strong on this, you're strong on that. Remember when you worked for me, Chris?
Yeah.
And I told you flat out when you went to college, you told me what you was going to college for. You was a high school kid. You just you was getting out of high school, and you told me what you was going to college for. What did I tell you? I told you need to get in communications, man, radio and things like that. So you good with voice, you good with people, But I think your mom and everybody else had different ideas, man. Yeah, we're gonna put you in something you could do with your hands. I'm like, no, man, that's not you. That's not you. And I saw that from you working with me in two different departments. I saw that, so I was like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. But you went and got your degree, and you got your degree in some other things. So it's good that you learn how to do that, but your true skill is mic work. Your true skill is communications. Like I say, you would have been good on radio or something like that. That's something that I would have pursued. But and
everybody, man, let me tell you, man, who was it? Kenny the Mac Miles and all them. When I was in the clubs and all that.
Yeah,
they would be at the clubs and they were like, man, I love your voice, man. I love your voice. Unfortunately, we booked on the radio, but you be good in sales. You be good in sales. And I was like, I know how radio sales work. That's straight commission.
Oh,
I'm like, that ain't no joke. That ain't no joke.
You was working with mom back then, man. Hey, you can sell a doggone refrigerator to an Eskimo, Chris. That's how good you was at talking to people, communicating with people. And not a lot of people have that. Man, you could have went and worked for, you remember a face. You remember everybody's face. You remember names. You know, we go places, you remember everybody's names. I was like, man, you need to be working for the mayor. You need to be working for the mayor, governor. They don't remember these people, these families that come up. You always see the mayor, governor, and they greet these families. Oh, what's going on, Mrs. Jackson? What's going on, Mrs. Taylor? What's going on, Mr. Scott? What's going on, Miss Smith? And then they name their kids. Those governors and mayors and stuff, they don't remember them people. They meet so many people. They have people like you who remembers a face, remembers names. And they whisper in their ear, that's they coming up or whatever. Because there'll be a lot of people there, and they see these people coming up, and they whisper in their ear, and they be like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Thompson, man, we haven't seen you in a long time. How's the business? How's the family, man? First, how's your family first, man? How they doing? How's your mom doing? How's your mom Doris doing? They ask questions like that. You're that type of person. You could have done that. That's one thing I wanted you to do. I was like, goodness sake, man, this dude need to do that. So that's the reason I wanted you to get into that type of business, man, that type of job. But you had just set on other things. I understand. As you grew up, we all wanted to do different things in life, but that right there was your niche. But hey, you finally in your niche. You're doing it now. So
yeah.
All right.
Wait, Underwood. When I saw Sweet Daddy, it was my way.
Up my
way. We were calling him the Black Ric Flair.
Oh, I hear you. He had that swag, man. He definitely had that swag.
Talking about Sweet Daddy the preacher?
No, Sweet Daddy Seeker, man. The rest.
I thought you talking about Sweet Daddy the preacher, boy.
You're not familiar with it, man. But yeah, he definitely had that type of swag. But man, Scott Larson, the wrestler that always stood out to me growing up, was not a really popular guy. The man of 1,000 holes, Dave Malenko. Hey, man, growing up, Scott, what are you talking about, man? You was in your 20s when you finally seen him.
man, why ain't nobody talking about the real man of 1,002 holes, boy, Chris Jericho? That's what y'all need to be talking about, boy. Chris Jericho, the man of 1,002 holes, boy.
I hear you, man. But yeah, Scott, but that's good though, man. You was basically in your 20s, I'm sure. Because hey, I was in my late 20s, but maybe 30, 31 when he first came around, when he really got popular. But hey, it's all good. Let's see. Robert Brown says Mike Graham challenged Chris Benoit to a fight, and Benoit walked in, called a human resources instead. I'm pretty sure he did. I wouldn't grapple with Mike Graham, man. There's no way in the world.
Man, Benoit could have hung with Graham, boy. He could have hung with him.
And in a true fight, I don't think so.
He could have hung with him though, man.
I don't know about all that. I see Jeanette just walk by. Was that Jeanette?
Yeah, that was
okay.
Her,
until I said, hey, what's up from Straight Up Wrestling family? But hey, I don't know. He might have hung with Mike Graham. I'm not sure. But
in a grappling fight, man. In a grappling fight.
Yeah, and that he would have. Yeah. Robert Brown, speaking in the club, when y'all get the chance, look up Get Wild in the Club by Grill featuring Kia.
Okay.
Goodness sake, man. I haven't heard Kia in a long time. All right, if it's the Kia that I'm thinking about, my back, my neck, if that's the Kia.
Okay. I met her, man. I met her at them apartments over there off Church Street. It used to be a hotel right there.
Oh gosh.
Okay, when you come up from Shrine Stadium and it was right there on the corner?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember those apartments.
She was actually in concert with Pastor Troy. Hang with my homegirl. Her homegirl worked at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Our homegirl was a massage therapist, actual massage, not what y'all think, actual massage therapist.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Hey, Troy up here. He said he need a massage, you need to relax, whatever."
Right.
We go up there. We in the room chilling with Troy.
Okay.
They up there on the PS3 playing NCAA football, eating Church's chicken and KFC and smoking out.
Right.
All right.
Keep talking.
This joker done paid her like $200 and then gave me $200 just for being there. I was like, all right, cool. Now Troy's a big boy. Troy every bit about 6 foot. Well, actually more than 6 foot. He probably about 6'5". Pastor Troy's a tall, big boy.
Oh yeah.
And that truck he was driving was beautiful. I mean, it was gorgeous.
Man, that joker. Boy, I couldn't stand Master Troy.
So we was down in, man, Troy was my man, but I love his music. Even this day, but I love his music.
That joke.
And so we down in the lobby, man. You know, we tried to get tickets, but his manager was out doing them out and about. And we, you know, he was like, I ain't got no tickets yet. I holler at my manager, but he ain't here right now. So
Okay.
we didn't end up going to the show. So we downstairs talking to our homegirl in the lobby that worked there. Lo and behold, Kaya walk in.
Okay.
Now, Harry, if I didn't know what she looked like, I would never recognized her.
Right.
She looked that average. Ain't nothing special about her.
Oh, oh man,
Nothing.
you can tell in the videos thing.
I was like,
about her.
I was like, if I hadn't seen your face, I would thought you was an average chick.
When I first saw her, man, I was like, okay, but
yeah, but you know, it is what it is.
Hey, no doubt, no doubt.
Stack the Bean. What's y'all's favorite top 3 technical wrestlers of all time?
Stack
Salute
the Bean.
my brother. Oh man, top 3 technical wrestlers. Ooh, okay. I go with Dean Malenko.
Okay.
I can go with Eddie Guerrero. And I can go with Bret Hart.
Okay. I'm gonna go Dory Funk Jr., number 1. Let's see, number 2. I'm gonna go Mr. Wrestling, Tim Woods, number 2, the guy that wore the white mask, not the one with the black end, but Mr. Wrestling, number 1, Tim Woods. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Mike Rotundo, Ray Wyatt's dad. He was an outstanding technical wrestler, so I'm going with those 3. Nobody.
He was a good wrestler. Mike Rotundo was good, but he was just boring.
Of course, he was boring, man. That's what he did.
It killed me. That's the only thing that killed me.
Mike Rotundo was not going to kick you. He was not going to be out there trying to kick you in the stomach. He was not going to be out there. You know, he's using forearms. He wrestled. He wasn't going to be kicking you in the stomach. I thought he was boring too, but you can't take away from what he did as a wrestler. He was a good wrestler.
I ain't saying that, but yeah, if he had some personality and some charisma,
he didn't have that.
It's like he sacrificed one for the other.
Man, no, he didn't sacrifice that, Chris. He just didn't have it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You know, hey, if that's not you, that's not you. You can try to manufacture it all you want. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And that's what makes some wrestlers look foolish, because they don't have it and they try to
imagine if he had the charisma, let's say, of his son.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And then still had the wrestling skills.
Yeah, gosh, he would have been amazing, man. He probably been one of the top 5 wrestlers ever. Yeah. Man, let's look at Brad Armstrong. Brad Armstrong would have been one of the top 5 wrestlers ever if he knew how to get on the mic and talk. They said Ric Flair and all them talking about, you know, hey, he's great. He could do anything in the ring. And in the back room, he cut up with the guy. He's the greatest personality in the world, man. But he could not do it on the microphone. He couldn't do it out.
He freeze up, but he just
So that right there hurt him, man. It hurt him real bad, straight up. But wow, man. So that's our top 3 there. But let's go and finish this thing out as far as these comments real quick, and then I want you to talk about your Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan moment. So since that was grabbed you and pulled you into wrestling. All right.
Robert Brown.
Robert Brown. So you got that. All right. Well, no. What?
No.
Did you meet Kia?
No. We just finished.
Stack y'all top 3? Okay. Yeah. My man Stack. Right. My man Stack the Beans.
Which shoot for you
stood out?
Stood out to you. Matt led either Matt and Edge, Lita and Benoit, Nancy, Kevin Sullivan, or Jerry. I would say had Matt and Edge. That's the one that stood out to me, man, because that thing, that was real, man. Because I heard about the Kevin Sullivan and Benoit with him and Nancy, but no. Who was she dating that time?
It was about Nancy. Yeah.
Okay. Woman. I heard about it, but it doesn't sound like it got that serious.
No, it did, man. Kevin Sullivan moved on. Man.
Yeah,
he just moved on.
And Karen Angle and Kurt it didn't really get that serious. It did a little bit, but it didn't get as serious. So it's got to be that Matt and Edge, man. Matt and Edge.
That was
think
something.
about it, man. Think that was
real.
Because you got to think. It got to the point where word was going on. These two had to be booked on different shows. So if Edge was on Raw, Matt couldn't be there. And vice versa. It was that crazy, man, that you could not be there, man. You just had to, and that's unheard of, man, where you can't be around somebody that you work with. That's like me and Harry, man. We were working at the grocery store together, man. Oh, Harry working today? Oh, the manager's like, oh no, you can't. You gotta come in on Harry's day off because y'all gonna tear the building down. So you know what I mean? And then on top of that, you spend all this time together on the road, 300 days out the year, if not more. You see these people every single day for how many hours out the day, and you riding with these people, you talking to these people, and you can't get along.
Mm-hmm.
There's a serious problem, man. And
man.
So that was the shoot feud for me that got pretty serious.
Yeah, it was. That right there is the most memorable.
Yeah, definitely. And what year did I meet Kaya? Oh, that was I want to say that was early 2000-ish.
Yeah, had to be.
Golly,
that hit came out around 2001.
It was about 2001, 2003. I want to say.
Right.
It was some early years, man.
Chris was doing so much back then. He can't remember stuff like that, Robert. But this boy used to be for the streets, boy. Chris used to be for the streets, boy. I'm telling you, boy.
I really did.
That boy running the streets. All right, Ray Underwood, Harry, if you and Chris want me to come on with you tonight, it will be an honor and a privilege to do so. Ray, we're gonna have some other people on there too. But Ray, we're gonna bring you on, man. We're gonna have to bring. I don't think we're gonna have everybody on at the same time, but we will bring you in. We definitely gonna bring you in. So stay tuned for that show tonight. I haven't posted it yet, but I will post it as soon as we get off here. I'm gonna have to go in and post it and put some things up. All right, Robert Brown, do y'all think they should have put CM Punk with the New Day? What?
The New Breed. New Breed.
Oh, New Breed. Okay, New Breed.
The rap group.
What's that? You done?
The rap group?
Are you done?
Is that what you talking about?
You want some goldfish?
Look, man, look. Let me cut Robert some slack. There was a New Breed in wrestling. Sean Royal and Chris Champion. They was called the New Breed. But that was way back in the day. That was like
Chris Champion was trash.
Yeah. Man,
he was trash, man.
We're not going to talk about what you think about him. We've already did that before. But Sean Royal and Chris Champion was called the New Breed. But that was back in like 1984, 85. Man, that was a long time ago. CM Punk was not even thought about as a wrestler. But I don't think that's what Robert meant. All right. Excuse me. Robert says Mike Rotundo's son outshined him. Yes, he did, Robert. Of course he did. No doubt. All right, man. Magnum. Goodness sake, I just skipped that, man. Hit that by mistake. Madam, hey guys, I need your help with this one. Would you consider Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig a technical wrestler? Yes.
Oh, of course, man. What up? Man. That joke. The only issue I had with Kurt, looking back at it now, he oversold some moves that shouldn't have been so hard.
Right.
Like you come up and hit that joke with a clothesline. He doing like 8 backflips.
Yeah.
Come on now, he didn't hit you that hard. Now,
Kurt he was overacting, but yeah, he was a great wrestler. And yeah, he was a technical wrestler. Even though he could go both ways, but for the most part, he was technical. All right, JL, sorry, I'm back. No problem. JL, I apologize for being inactive in the chat. That's okay. JL, even though I wasn't watching wrestling at this time, but what are the odds Vincent books his own funeral and during that week the Ben Wildcard move happened? What the heck? Man, look, a lot of people book their own funeral, man. you know, Chris mom booked her own funeral. She didn't book her funeral when she was gonna die. She didn't know that, but she already had the music lined out.
Yeah, had everything lined out. Yeah.
You know, everything. Who you know who's gonna reside over it? She had everything. You know, so
and she got that from my grandfather, who actually planned his thing out years in advance.
And there's other people. My aunt did that, and my mom already done laid hers out. So people book their funerals, JL. JL. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince McMahon, he knows what he wants. But yeah, Chris mom had the music laid out, everything. All right, JL makes you wonder what if Nancy Neville was booked in storyline with Benoit. That's how they got together.
Are you looking like that, man?
No, I'm just trying to think, JL. Back, I remember when all that happened, you know, between her and Benoit. I just think it was just a natural attraction between the two, man. It just happened, you know, when it boils down to it. So, and her and Kevin Sullivan, even though Kevin was mad, her and Kevin wasn't really in a relationship at that time, man. They was in between, you know, they was a working out relationship. They had been living together for years, and they was involved with each other, but they had broke up at that time. But they was back and forth with each other. So, all right, JL, Lita was a doormat and thought she is no wrong. Disgusting. Now look, she's single, no relationship, and is trying to dress like she's 20 in the 90s. Yeah, she does. She you know, last time we seen her, she didn't look horrible. She just looked horrible in the ring. She's still a good looking lady. She's still a nice looking lady, in my opinion.
But Bill Hazelwood in here, man. On Facebook.
Bill Hazelwood, Bill, we got
Bill Hazelwood, man.
And Bill, wait a minute. Tell Bill about what we're doing tonight. If he wants to come in, I would love to hear his thoughts too on the wrestlers that we're going to be doing tonight. The best black wrestlers ever, because Bill been around a long time.
Yes,
so
yes.
I would love to hear his thoughts. But Bill, we will be doing a show at 7:30. Our man Joe Wheeler, and we know Joe Wheeler. You know Joe Wheeler, so Joe Wheeler will be on with us tonight. Hopefully Scott Larson is going to come in, but we're going to have some other people come in. But Bill, we
would love to have you, Bill, man.
Yeah, we'd love to have you, man. So let us know, man. All right, but Facebook user said, okay, is this Bill?
Yeah, that's Bill.
All right, Bill, man. Hey, the voice of the South, man. The voice, the mouth of the South, whatever, man. Like I say, hey, one of our brothers done passed away, and he definitely was the mouth of the South. My man Danny Paris, but Bill,
yes,
my man Bill says Matt Edge did just like most men do. Let his skank get between them. Laugh out loud. Oh my God, man.
All right,
man. Hey, it happens, man. But more than we want to admit. And, you know,
that is so true, though. That is so true, man.
Yeah, and you know what? There's, you know, a lot of us don't want to, you know, we don't want to hang on to that. We want to pretty much say we're strong enough to not let a woman come between us. But man, that's been happening since the beginning of time. Straight up, man. Straight up.
Started with Samson and Delilah, boy.
Yeah, man. I want no Samson and Delilah, man. Adam and Eve, man. Well, actually, no, I mean, messes up. Put it like this. This pretty much will mess you up, you know. But yeah, Bill Hazelwood, my man. But yeah, Bill Hazelwood, hey, if you're around tonight, man, we definitely would like you to come on. Rock with us on the show and talk about your favorite black wrestlers, because we definitely gonna run that thing down. It's gonna be a special show. All right, JL, you guys have a different perspective.
Man, we got Scott Lawson, man.
Oh, Scott, I miss Scott. Okay, sorry about it, Scott. Scott said my three are Bret Hart, Dean Malenko, and Kurt Heenan.
Okay, so, I can do that. I can work with that.
God, when did you start watching wrestling, man? You know, hey, man, I want to know, man. I want to know. Tell me something. Because I mean, look, I know what you like. You're like 5 years older than Chris. I mean, you're younger than me. You're like 6 years, 5, 6 years younger than me, I guess. From what I remember your last birthday. But yeah, you're younger than me. But I'm just wondering, when did you start watching wrestling, man? Because I know you've been watching for a long time. And you say Bret Hart, Dean Malenko, and Kurt Heenan? Now, when Kurt started, well, you probably was 10 when Kurt started. You probably was,
Kurt was what, late 70s, early 80s?
He was in the 80s. He started in the 80s, mid-80s.
Mid-80s?
Yeah, he started in the mid-80s. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because Larry Axe Heenan was, Kurt started in the mid-80s, man. 84, 86, something around there. Bret Hart really didn't get popular until the 90s. Now, I saw Bret back in Mid-Atlantic. I saw Bret a long time ago. Okay, I knew about Bret, Keith, and I knew about.
If you was a true historian, you would have caught him when he was in Canada.
Man, I remember him when he was in Canada. Man, I wasn't interested in it. You know, I wasn't interested in him in Canada at all. But I remember him in Canada. Yeah, like I said, I used to follow that too. So yeah, but I really didn't really pay attention to him till he came to the Mid-Atlantic Championship area, and he was only here for a while. Then next thing you know, he ends up in the WWE. WWF back then,
and that's when it took off for him. Boy.
Yeah, well, it took a while before it took off for him, man. It didn't happen immediately. I really didn't care for him. And, you know, he was a technical wrestler. Everybody talked about how good technically he is, but I saw a lot of guys who I thought was better than him technically. Now, when he got that title, it went to a different aspect.
Which one? The heavyweight or the IC? Heavyweight or IC?
When he got the IC title, yeah,
okay.
But when he was with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, you know, I'm just like,
But they had some classic tag matches. Boy.
Oh, they did, man. They did. But still, man, like I say, you know, it just was so many tag teams back then. It was hard. It was hard for me to be convinced that a tag team, any tag team, really, to get over, because I was comparing them to so many different great tag teams. All right, JL, you guys have a different perspective on Chris Benoit. You knew him as the wrestler, then murderer. Most of us know him as the murderer and the wrestler, so it's impossible to support Fifth. Man, get on with that. Get on with that. Like I said, hey, the man did what he did, but he did what he did in the ring. And that's what I plan on holding on to. Now, every time I think about him or I hear his name, do I think about what happened to Woman? Because, man, I love that woman, man. Like I say, I thought she was great. You know, love Nancy. But, dude, I'm sorry, man. JL, you talk about Chris Benoit all the time. You talk about him a lot. You bring him up every now and then. You like have a disdain for this dude, man. Not like you want to choke him. He did what he did, man. We can't do anything, man.
But JL act like he owed him about $400 and he never got paid.
JL, we can't do anything. We cannot bring him back so you can choke him out, man. We can't do that. We can't.
Much as you want to, JL. I'm sorry, you can't get your lick back for whatever reason. That man.
I know, but JL want to get it, boy. JL, I'm sorry. JL said the new breed had Striker and them in it. Brooks was the weakest link. The new breed. I don't know nothing about this new breed. I don't know nothing.
The only new breed I know is the rap group, boy.
You talking about breed, man. You talking about the rapper who had that song, man. Ain't no future in your front. And that's all I gotta say about JL. Ain't no future in your front, bro. Because like I say, as far as the Benoit thing, man, you fronting, boy. You just continue on and on.
Where is this Striker and what?
I don't know. We talking about Matt Striker and all them guys in the group, and Brooks was the weakest link in there. I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
JL says, yikes. All right, Robert Brown said the new breed with Elijah Burke and Marcus Carvant.
Oh my goodness, man, that's some
Chris remembers now.
That's some TNA stuff, but early TNA stuff.
Okay.
That's some early TNA stuff, man.
Look,
yeah.
I dismissed it, Chris. I remember it. I dismissed it. Didn't want to hear it. I remember they say the new breed. I remember that. I did not like it because the new breed I remember was when it wasn't Sean Royal and Chris Champion. Well, Sean Royal couldn't wrestle no more because he had got hurt in some kind of accident. When it wasn't them, I wasn't interested in it. But I remember. Yeah, I remember it now. JL, no hate to Brereton, and don't want to be sounding disrespectful. But I feel like once he died, people act like he was better than Undertaker, and there's some legend. He's great, but it seems disingenuous. JL, look, I'm gonna go ahead and say this, man. And I know it's gonna be controversial. You might not.
He was about to pass. Man, look, at that Raw Celebration show, whatever 50th, 500th, whatever it was, man, Undertaker was about to pass the torch to that boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's letting him know. Hey, he basically told him, I will guesstimate to say. He told him the same thing. He's like, you're starting this business. You're gonna be somebody, but not yet. But you on your way. That's what I want to say. Undertaker told him. I don't know. Don't nobody know what Undertaker said, because Undertaker ain't even told nobody what he said.
Yeah.
But man, he was gonna be the next one.
My thing is this, okay, and I'm gonna be straight up, JL, when it comes to Chris Benoit, and you talking about this Undertaker thing, and was he gonna be greater than the Undertaker as far as his legacy go? No.
He would have had to put in some time for that.
He was not gonna. It doesn't matter how much time he wrestled. Was he gonna be a bigger than the Undertaker? As far as Undertaker's gonna go down as one of the top 3 or 4 characters ever in wrestling, if not number 1. As far as his character goes, his character outshines everything. He's good, very good wrestler, but his character outshines everything. His character, what makes him one of the top 4 or 5 ever in this business. It straight up, it's hard to surpass that. But as far as a wrestler go, Chris Benoit was a better wrestler than Undertaker. He was, Take away the personal thing, the stupid stuff that he done, the foolishness that he done, the sin, the outrageous sin that he performed, that he did. He was a better wrestler, man. You can't take that away from him, JL. O.J. Simpson is one of the greatest running backs of all time. You can't take that away from him. Even though he did what he did. You can't take that away from him. This man was outstanding on the football field.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing on the football field.
I mean, you can't take that away from him, JL. I'm sorry. I know we in cancel culture now, but you can't cancel what these guys did. They did it. But obviously he made a huge mistake. Not a huge mistake, and he ended his own life too. So it is what it is, man. Yeah. Wow. But no, I don't think he ever would have got as big as the Undertaker. I don't think he ever would have got that big. JL, ECW had the New Breed in 2007, the good one. Okay. JL, remember when Vincent had the limo explosion that week? Benoit did what he did.
He sure did.
Yeah, Robert Brown, Money Brown, Marcus Carvon could have been a star. He had it not been for Jeff Jarrett. Wow. JL, which segment was worse? Trish barked like a dog to Vincent, or the Edge Lita bed playing with action figures under the sheets in the ring? All right, Scott Larson said in the early 80s. Okay, in the early 80s. Okay, so you didn't become a fan in the 70s when you was a kid. Okay, well, early 80s, man, you was a kid. Yeah, I was still a kid in the 80s too, so yeah, and you're younger than me, so yeah, I can understand. JL Booker, yeah, because I don't expect Chris. He was only 3 in the 70s. I mean, when the 70s was ending in 1980, he was 3. So I don't expect Chris to know what was going on in the 70s. All right, JL Booker T was hot in 2003 and 2004, but had him lose to the racist character at the time. Levesque looked him saying people like you don't deserve to be champ. Your nappy hair dancing in a man, JL. Wow, man.
No, that was I remember that, man. No, yeah. I remember that. That's when Triple H was with Ric Flair. Triple H was world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And Booker was on the come up, and they wanted to put the title on Booker, but he wasn't gonna beat Triple H. But anyway, and there was a segment they said all you good for is dancing, entertaining, and looking like a fool. And that's what you need to do. And Triple H said that on a promo while Ric Flair was standing there. Go look it up. Go look it up, man. Yeah.
Oh, I believe that. And you know what? I think I've seen the promo. I remember the promo.
It was on a Monday Night Raw.
Look, back then, at that time, we was past, in my opinion, we was past all that stuff from, back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s when you get away with that stuff. So at that time, I was in a different mindset. I was like, hey, man, Booker T can whoop this guy's tail. I'll pop him in the mouth, or I wouldn't go for that type of thing back then. At that time, I wouldn't have went for that. But earlier, I can understand wrestlers back in the old days going for that, but I wouldn't have went for that. Straight up, and you know what? And Vince McMahon probably instructed Triple H to say something like that. He might have not want to say that. I don't think he came up with that. I think Vince had his hand in that. JL, my first match I saw was Kelly versus Eve Torres. I know random channel.
You missed Robert Brown, man.
Oh man, I'm sorry I missed Robert Brown.
You skipping all kind of comments today, Harry.
Sorry about. Did you ever watch ECW during the Triple Threat Sable era? Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Chris Candido.
I didn't watch it because of Shane Douglas. I couldn't stand Shane Douglas. So anytime he was on TV, I changed the channel, turned the TV off. I still can't stand him to this day.
I never liked him either, but I did not watch ECW that much. Once they changed from East Coast Wrestling, went to ECW, and got all hardcore like that, it wasn't my thing. So, hey, all that ECW led to everything that we see today, if you ask me. That's not saying that
ECW, it was vital. It was vital for the business.
It was, but that's not saying ECW ruined wrestling, but ECW, all this chaos that you see today came from ECW for the most part.
Chaos was wrestling, boy. Man,
chaos ruined wrestling, put it that way. All right, Jay Hill, my first match, I used to like it when chaos made sense. All right, my first match I saw was Kelly versus Eve Torres. I know random channel surfing, and Cena caught my eye. Can't lie, I was the biggest Cena fan. I cried when he got whooped by Brock. I was like 9. Gosh, Jay Hill.
Ooh-wee. Wow, man.
Oh, man, smack you upside your head and say, boy, be a big boy, man. Nah, it's okay. My brother used to cry, man, but not me. I wasn't that type of person.
Nah,
you know, but wrestling was wrestling. But I understand, JL. It's all good. You're a big boy now. All right. JL said Steve Blackman is underrated big time. He was way more talented than RVD and Simmons, but got passed up. Okay.
Yeah. Steve Blackman was highly underrated, man. Highly, and was one of the legit badasses in the wrestling business, boy.
Yeah. All right. Ray Underwood said, yes, Chris Kurt started wrestling January 30th, 1980. Okay, Kurt Hennig started in 1980. I thought he started later than that. But then when I think back to it, yeah, he did. Because I remember that he was in the vote for the Rookie of the Year that year. I remember that. I was 13. But all right.
Man, AWA.
Yeah, JL, Aces and Eights was a good stable.
Yeah, they was all right.
Yeah. JL, I love Aces and Ace. No, Aces and Ace was not great. And Benoit's storytelling was not on the level of the Undertaker. JL, I feel like Bobby has the look and should have been a beast, but has never clicked. What happened?
He can't talk on the mic.
Well, he can't talk on the mic.
He ain't believable.
But you know what? He can't talk on the mic. But that's when it boils down to it. That, in my opinion, that is not the reason why he shouldn't have never clicked. He hasn't been booked right. Just straight up.
Harry.
No,
Harry, we all know talking gets the people in the building.
Of course, talking gets the people.
You can have all the athleticism in the world, but if you're the champion and you can't talk, bro.
Chris, why do your memory just decide to, when it comes to wrestling, why do your memory decide to just walk away? Just walk on.
Okay.
Walk on. Didn't I tell you Bob Backlund couldn't talk on the mic? Didn't I tell you Bruno Sammartino couldn't talk on the mic? Was they world champions, Chris?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay.
But man,
so
come
why,
on, man. But
Mil Mascaras was a world champion when he was IWA world champion, and it was a big promotion. He did not talk on the mic, man.
I don't remember Mil Mascaras, so that's beyond me.
Of course, that's beyond me, man. But I'm just trying to say, you can't say that, Chris. Man, but they did have a manager, Arnold Scanlon. He talked for them. But that's what I'm saying. Bobby Lashley should have been put with that a long time ago. Vince McMahon, and I know what JL is getting at. And I know. Okay, let's go ahead and roll with it. Okay, guys, this might not be my opinion, might not be Chris's opinion. I know JL and a lot of people are going to say it was some racism there. Let's go ahead and go with that angle. Let's say that. Vince McMahon, he could have booked him better than that, Chris. He could have put him with a manager. He could have had somebody lead him along the whole time. This last time with MVP, they was great together. MVP was a good mouthpiece for him. Bobby does not need to talk. You know what? Vince McMahon knew this guy couldn't talk. So what did they do? They just pulled him away. Or was it Triple H pulled him away from him? They know this guy can't talk. He sounds like a fool when he gets up there, man. This big old muscular guy. Sounds like an idiot, you know? So, of course, you know, Bobby's not going to pull people in with that. So, man, is it his fault, Chris? And that's what I get at when I say promoters. Promoters have a job to do. Bookers have a job to do. And if you don't do it correctly, it's your fault, man, when it boils down to it. How do you get people over? Rocky Soul Man Johnson wasn't great on the mic. His son is outstanding, but Rocky Soulman Johnson wasn't great on the mic. But you know what? He didn't have to be. He had other people talk for him. They surrounded him with guys, a whole bunch of different guys, and made him look spectacular. Made him, when he was out there talking, there's other people came out there and talk for him.
Man, them
made him look
them
like
promoters and bookers, they listen to Silk the Shocker. It ain't
It
my
ain't my
fault.
fault. It ain't my fault. No doubt about that, man. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I hold it on a lot of different people, man. But when it boils down to it, Bobby, it's all, a lot of it is on him. But yeah, as far as people booking him and Vince McMahon, he could have helped him out. He could have helped him out. Vince knows better, man. He knows better. But Vince like, hey, this guy got the body. And he's got the body. He's got the strength. He's pretty good in the ring.
This is the last comment. I had to put that up.
Not gonna work. Huh?
This is the last comment. I know I skipped a lot of comments, but I saw what we were talking about, and this goes with what we were talking about. Scott Lawson right there. He says, Harry, we got to talk tonight. I don't want to write a book. Wrestlers should know how to talk. That's like a race car driver not knowing how to drive.
All right, you skip, man. Wait a minute. I don't even know where that comment is at, but I know.
No, it's at the very bottom. It's at the very bottom.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Scott.
But that makes sense. That makes sense.
Hey, look, Scott, I'm with you. But when wrestling first started, and you know what? Because I'm a historian, I'm gonna go ahead and hit you off with this. Wrestling first started, these guys wasn't talking, man. They was not talking. It evolved to that. Back in the 70s, like I said, back in the 70s is when it really started etching up as far as the talking. Now, talking skills today, as far as these wrestlers today, they can't talk. You know why? You know why these wrestlers can't talk? Why can't he talk, Chris?
I don't know why they can't talk, man.
Is there anything out here that pretty much interrupt their vocal skills, their talent, the skills that they should have developed as a speaker?
Man, look, it don't cost nothing.
We got computers. We got people texting. They want to text. These kids, they grew up texting. So they don't know how to talk.
It don't take nothing.
The young bucks sounds like idiots.
Hey, but it don't take nothing to stand in front of a mirror. Just make up a promo in your head and look at your reaction and see how your body moving and stuff like that, and be like, if I do this, this might work. What I did last week.
Those guys thought they could talk, Chris. Maybe they thought they was good. I don't know. Maybe they thought he was good. Bobby Lashley probably get in front of the mic. He probably think he's good, man. Hey, I'm over. He's over. He's still over. Fans cheer for him like crazy. They love him, but I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get off.
Yeah. Wrestling needs more me and yous in the business, boy. And what I mean by me and you, we ain't no yes men. So if Bobby came up to me and be like, "Oh, Chris, man, I was killing him. Did you hear the pop?" I'm like, "Yeah, I heard the pop. Yeah, they were cheering. But when you got on the mic, half the audience went to go get popcorn and use the bathroom. You suck."
Hey, it does not.
And I'll tell him straight, you suck. If you can't hold the audience,
on the mic, he sucks on the mic, Chris.
But I'll be like, look, if you ain't willing enough to practice your skill and try to get better on the mic, or try to get with somebody to help you get better and practice your individual mic skills, you might as well sit back here and cater and just get a check with everybody else.
And you know what?
I'll tell him that. I will straight up tell him that.
Me and you together, I'm putting him with somebody. I'm putting him with Perry James. You know, I'm putting him. Hey, I'm putting him with Perry James. You know, I'm putting him with what's the other one? He's with Brano now.
Jeez.
I can't even think of his name.
I got his face in my head.
Yeah, I can't even think of his name. Love him. I'll put him with him. I'll put him with somebody that can speak for him.
Yeah,
man. How many times did you hear my man Bobby talk? How many times did you hear Bobby and Stan talk?
Very, 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 very few.
Very rare.
Very few.
They was not.
You would actually hear Stan talk more than Bobby.
What's that?
You would hear Stan talk more than Bobby.
Exactly. Bobby, when he became solo, Bobby never talked. Bobby never talked on the mic.
Matter of fact, there was an interview. It was God, what was it? Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
When they did the elimination, the Chambers of Horror.
Right.
Missy Hyatt, they were looking for the WCW Phantom, who ended up being Rick Rude.
Right.
They were looking for the WCW Phantom. Missy Hyatt's back there, and it's like, Bobby, come here, Bobby. Have you seen the WCW Phantom? Do you know who he is? And Bobby up there standing with a towel around his neck, wet hair, holding a daggone pumpkin. Talking about WCW Phantom. What are you talking about? I just want a match. I'm going to go celebrate.
Oh yeah.
That's the longest promo I've ever heard him give. This was in 1990 something.
Yeah. All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and roll with these comments. We got to get back to exactly what we was talking about.
Yeah.
We gonna thrown off. And I mean, I know a lot of people. Well, when we come on tonight, man, like I say, you know, comments probably gonna get backed up, guys. I want you to come in. I want you to talk about black wrestlers, guys. I want you to talk about. That's what we're gonna be talking about. But yeah, because these comments right here has gotten way out of hand, man. Like I say, you know, as far as what we're doing, like I say, we wanted to do this live. Sometimes we're just gonna have to come, you know, these special shows, man, and do videos because, man, you guys, man, like I say, love every one of you to death, man. But I know you want to come in and talk about what you want to talk about. But let me go ahead and roll with all these comments real quick. But yeah, you guys can continue to talk about other things, but that's cool. But yeah, we you know, I don't want to get off of what we're talking about, because when me and Chris start talking about these things, man, we get off on a tangent and we go on and on and on about what the comments talking about. Ray Underwood, yeah, Kurt started wrestling on January 30th, 1980. Thank you, Ray Underwood. We appreciate that. JL Aces and Ace was a good stable. Jay says Aces and Ace was not great, and Benoit storytelling was not on the level of the Undertaker.
Robert Brown.
So where we at now?
JL, right there. Feel like Bobby.
All right, good. I feel like Bobby has the look and should have been a beast. That's what we're talking about, but has never clicked what happened. JL said, where does New Jack rank on the best black wrestling wrestlers? Way down if you ask me, JL. Way down. Okay.
Now far as talking, he up there. He up there as far as talking.
Yeah, as far as talking, he's up there. But as far as wrestling, his wrestling ability, way down. All right, JL, I'm talking about Bray Wyatt and Undertaker. Robert Brown, we don't know if O.J. Simpson did it or not. Hey, Robert, I was there. I saw him when he done it. I was one of the guys that was leading. Hey, man, you need to do it this way. Man, you need to cover it up. Hey, make sure the gloves don't fit. No, I'm just joking with you. Guys, don't take me serious on that. But, hey, Robert Brown, man, look. If OJ didn't do it, OJ might have had something. He might have been involved with it. Seemed like he was involved with it or whatever. But, hey, if he didn't do it, why in the world drive down the road, man? Why in the world try to avoid the cops like that? I mean, guy's life was set. OJ was popular as I don't know what. The guy was beloved by just about everybody. Why in the world just up and run off?
Joker had that luggage deal, boy, in the airport.
Exactly. And you know what? Robert Brown, a lot of people who didn't think he done it, who clamored and said he didn't do it or whatever. But I had friends, black and white, man, when it first started. Now, a lot of people think white people, but mostly my white friends, man, because they love O.J. Simpson. Remember, he embraced their community more than he embraced ours. As much as people want to doggone talk about, and you know, the black community just got behind him like crazy. He embraced the white community. He married white back when people wasn't married. You know, blacks and whites wasn't really marrying. He married white. He stayed in their communities. Everything was white about him, man. And like I say, so. You know, so we need to get off that. But all my white friends, man, that
you know what he said, man.
OJ
you know what he said? I'm not black. I'm OJ.
Exactly. White people were saying like crazy, OJ didn't do it. But then the media went and focused on the white people who did believe he did it. And a lot of black people didn't believe he did it until later on. Black comedians started joking around, and everybody said, "Yeah, of course he did it." So a lot of people thought he did it. But do we know personally that he done it? Man, only him and God knows who done that. You know what I mean? He knows if he done it or not. And, you know, and hey, we'll see one day. We'll see one day. If you believe in that. Now, I'm not saying, you know, because some people don't believe in that, that we're going to be resurrected one day and, like saying, have to answer for what we did in this life. But, hey, if you believe in that, hey, O.J. Simpson will know one day. We will know. All right, JL, the glove supposedly didn't fit. Yep. Robert Brown, Jeff Jarrett can't book. No one. Robert Brown, Booker T, straight kiss up for WWE. Look, man, Booker T did what he had to do to feed his family, man. Straight up. That's all it is to it, you know. And I tell you what, I think he don't care what we think. He did what he had to do to feed his family, man. And, you know, me personally, what I would have took that and been on national TV at that time, you know, around 2004 or whatever, in the early 2000s? No. I would have been like, no, we're not going with that. I would have had something to say to Vince. What could he done? He could have fired me, you know, but still, Booker T, you know, hey, he
did what he did, man. He did what he did.
Yeah, and he could have went out and he could have been saying something about it, and it would have even been an uproar about it back then. All right, stack the beans. Start bench cut. Dudley's, Hardy's, Edge, and Christian. Right now, Dudley's, man. Not Dudley's, Hardy's, man. Right now. Now, not back then. The Hardys, I would take the Hardys over the Dudleys back then. Edge and Christian, I'm not sure. It's close. Edge and Christian was something, boy. They still something, but they was something back then.
Yeah.
All right, JL, the first time I heard of Jeff Jarrett was when Chyna beat him for the belt. Wow, JL. He was way established. He was established big time before that happened. JL, I think Jacqueline is underrated. Yes, she was. Yeah.
Yes, she was.
She was incredible. All right, Ray Underwood. Remember Harry and Chris about Benoit? He was a beast in the ring. Tragedy, what happened? But also remember the corner said his brain looked like an 85 Alzheimer's patient. Wow. Yeah, a lot of that had to do with it, man. It really did. All right, Robert Brown, why y'all don't like Shane Douglas? He was overrated, man. That's all I say.
He was overrated, man. And plus, he was just cocky as all get out, man.
Very cocky. He should have been at the. To me, he should have been. He was a bottom. He should have been a bottom feeder. Whatever company he was in.
He shouldn't even been in the business, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go there, but he's one of these guys that shouldn't have. He shouldn't have been in the position he was in my opinion.
I say this: Rocky King should have been champion.
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say, Chris. Rocky King, he should have been. He wasn't much better than Rocky King. He should have been. Denny Brown. The Italian Stallion. He should have been around that same little. Yeah, I'm serious. He should. That's where he should have been played. He should have been played at the bottom of the cards. Everything that he got, man. I don't know. It's like Shane went up there and had something on people. I don't know. I remember when one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, number 2, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat teamed with him in WCW. They won the WCW World Championship. Now, Ricky Steamboat, I like every tag team partner he ever had, except for Shane Douglas, man. Chris not the only one, man. That's one thing I agree 100% with Chris on. I can't stand Shane Douglas, man. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is. I just felt that he wasn't his skill wasn't up to par. It wasn't what people were saying it was. They just put it that way, and so that made me not like it. All right, JL, can you say New Jack helped ignite the extreme style matches, the mass transit incident? To a certain point, JL, but it was out there before he got involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
Before he got involved. JL, why do you think Curtis Axel couldn't live up to the expectations? I don't have nothing to say about that, Curtis Axel. And he just never really thrilled me or anything like that. JL Harrington, listen, I don't think it's a racism thing. I used to believe that, but it's not always a race thing. That's the easy way to blame others. But Robert Lashley needed to improve. Yeah, he did. Man, look, man, I don't know what in the world's going on. When he had the title, when he had the WWE title, and MVP was his manager or whatever, MVP was his. I thought he was devastated, man. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked incredible during that run. I thought he looked incredible. But for some reason, it seemed like that's a distant memory to everybody. It seemed like people acting like he never was the WWE champion. People acting like that didn't happen. That's what it seemed like to me. It's like I'm like, this man held the title longer than Ron Simmons held the WWE world title. I mean, the WCW world title. But you know what? People remember that about Ron Simmons. They don't remember what went on with Big E. I mean, with Bobby Lashley. Robert, if you want to call him Robert, that's his actual name. So I will give you that, JL. And big ups to you, man, being young as you are, knowing what a nickname is, because me and Chris, we done ran across kids who did not know that they didn't know nicknames. Like, Chris is short for Christopher or Christian. Mm-hmm. They didn't know that Bill is short for William. They didn't know that. A lot of kids in your, a lot of young people in your generation, Gen Z, they didn't know that. And a lot of millennials didn't know that. They didn't know Dick was short for Richard. They didn't know. So big ups to you, JL, with these names, man. But JL, I don't know how long Bobby Lashley held that title, but I think it was longer than Ron Simmons held that WCW title. But I thought
he held it longer. Yeah, he held it longer.
And he had an amazing run. And I thought he looked good. And look, I know Chris at the time. Chris was down on WWE, so Chris really didn't watch it. But they used to get like 1.8 million watching it every week. Chris wasn't really watching it. But man, I used to watch it and I watched it intently. Man, I was like, man, this guy's good. It is good. And I told Chris, I said he's in my rankings as probably the best black wrestler ever. I thought he was great. He looked outstanding. But you know what? Yeah. What's the name? WWE, for some reason, Vince have took that away from him, man. It's like they took that away from him, and people don't remember that. It's sad. It's sad, man. That they just it's pretty, if you ask me, it is pretty much on that same level that Ronnie Garvin had that WCW title.
Oh Lord.
It's pretty much been dismissed like that. It's been dismissed. And it's sad. Scott Larson, Harry, we got to talk tonight. That's what you had talked about.
Yeah.
I don't want to write a book. Wrestlers should know how to talk. I agree there. They do. They should.
All right. And we got Bill Hazelwood on Facebook, man, says, I'm a living historian. I remember no ring entrance music.
No doubt about that, Bill. No doubt about that, man.
He said, I remember no ring entrance music.
And I used to love it, too. I loved when the music started, but, man, sometimes music is not called for. Like, as far as somebody getting attacked in the ring, why in the world?
Hey, you know the first wrestlers who use entrance music? I know you know.
Who? Freebirds, Fabulous Freebirds?
Yes, yes, sir. In WCCW.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They say it was the Fabulous Freebirds. I don't think so.
Who was it then?
I mean, from my personal experience, because I remember Junkyard Dog using Another One Bites the Dust before the Freebirds used their music.
I remember that. That too.
And yeah, in Georgia. He used it in Georgia, and the Freebirds hadn't got the WCCW yet. So I'm just thinking they're crediting it to the Freebirds. They're not giving Junkyard Dog credit. Junkyard Dog was the first person I seen do it. But let me see when Freebirds first did that. I'm gonna look that up because Junkyard Dog preceded them, in my opinion, but they don't want to give him credit. And you know what? The man can't defend himself, Chris.
Yeah, you're right.
He's been dead for a long time. So, hey.
All right.
You know what? And Ole was running Georgia Championship Wrestling at the time when Junkyard Dog was there. Ole's not gonna come out there and say no, it's Junkyard Dog. You know he's not. And then Ole, you know how he feels, man. You know how he is about black people. But so Ole's gonna be like, heck no.
and that's crazy too, man, because he started JYD started with Bill Watts in Louisiana.
Yeah, he did.
Which is crazy. While you looking that up, I'm gonna go ahead and get these comments, man.
All right.
JL Harrington sounds like my uncle talking about technology.
Okay.
We got Bill Hazelwood again, man. He says, speaking of great black wrestlers, I've seen the greats live from the 70s on.
Oh yeah.
And see, Bill, that's why we would love to have you on the panel today, Bill. That's why we need that knowledge, man.
Yeah, we would love to have that. Love to have
you. Ray Underwood. Harry, I think Dr. D. Williams would be in the great wrestlers if he wouldn't have messed up by rupturing that reporter's ear. Oh, yeah. What? I know the slap. The slap. You look like Geraldo.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're talking about. Yeah, Dr. D. Yeah. All right, Bill Hazelwood. The problem today is the writers, not the wrestlers. They have to stick to a word-for-word script. Plus, they are letting everybody talk now. That's another problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's sad. And what one thing I used to talk about that, Chris, when we first started this thing, I like everybody does not have to talk.
Nope.
When we was going around to these indies, a lot of these indie shows, every single wrestler was getting on the mic. Man, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that.
Yep. Jeff Samuel, what's up, Chris and Harry? What's going on, Jeff? Good to see you, man. And Jacob Henney says, what's up, guys? You think, Harry, that Sting and Darby retained the tag belts, Sting retired to have his sons become Darby's tag team, or the Bucks have Ric Flair as their manager? That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Jack, glad that you joined us, man.
And
guys, I'm looking up some stuff. So if
as long as Rick don't get in the ring, we okay, because
exactly.
All right, Jacob Henney says, how do you feel about Dean Malenko's style back then? Dean's style back then, man, he was another one, man, that was, he basically had the talent, the skill, but really didn't have the mic work. He was another.
That's true. Yeah.
It's like I don't know, man. It's like God was like, okay, I'm gonna give you all this skill and talent, but you ain't gonna be able to talk in front of people. And if you can talk in front of people, you ain't gonna have the skill and you ain't gonna have the wrestling skill. You trade one for the other. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't get it, man. And because Dean rarely talked, man. Dean rarely talked. Even when he was with the Horsemen, he rarely talked.
Yeah, that's true. So, that's true.
Yeah, guys. So we got all the comments, and Harry's still looking up some stuff there, man.
This is very interesting, Chris.
Okay, what you finding out, man? What you finding out?
Okay, it says that's not true, but they was the first ones to use rock music. The Fabulous Freebirds was the first. They credited with the first one because Gorgeous George used music. He was very flamboyant, but he didn't use rock music. I remember that.
Oh, he probably used like some classical music.
He used classical stuff. Now, Freebirds was credited with the first ones use rock, but Junkyard Dog used rock music too, because Another One Bites the Dust was a rock song.
Yeah.
Even though it was R&B-ish type too, because they used to play it on Black radio all the time.
Of course.
But it was a rock song too. And
that was by what? Queen, right?
That was by Queen.
Okay.
He started using it right before the Freebirds. They both debuted those songs about the same time. And you know what? They knew each other. Junkyard Dog and Michael Hayes and all them, they both wrestled in Memphis for Bill Watts. So
you mean Louisiana, man?
I mean Louisiana, not Louisiana. I'm saying Memphis. I mean Louisiana, down in Mid-South. But yeah. So all those guys got together. They probably was all around each other and say, man, I'm starting using interest music and stuff like that. Junkyard Dog probably said the same. You were saying it at the same time as Terry Gordy, Michael Hayes, and all those guys said it. So they said it. They both pretty much it was started around the same time. So and Junkyard Dog was in Georgia at the same time. They was over there, and they both started the ring interest music. But they did credit the Freebirds with it. I have no problem with it, because I think they said Freebirds started a couple months before Junkyard Dog did his. So I guess we got to go with the Freebirds. So yes, Freebirds. Yeah. All right, man. You finished with all comments?
Let me see where we at here. Nope, we got some more came through, man. We got some more that came through. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay. Jacob Henney says Harley Race stool up. Okay. And Marshall Vandal, thank you for coming in, man. He said AEW doing the same now. They have licensed music for Wrestlers Wild Thing, for Moxley, Cassidy song. Mm-hmm. And Marshall also says Road Warriors came out to Iron Man and NWA. Yes, they did. They did,
man. That was devastating.
And everybody thinks Hulk Hogan came out to Real American first. No, he did not. He came out to Eye of the Tiger.
Yes, he did. Yeah, Marshall Vandal, appreciate you coming in. My man Jacob Henney, I see rolled in. My man Jeff Samuel is in the house. Appreciate each and every one of you guys coming in, rocking with the Straight Up Wrestling Show. And man, hey, and Bill Hazelwood, we appreciate everything that you're saying in here. Yeah, Bill. Hey, we love your knowledge, man. And hey, we love you anyway, man. You all man. But guys, man, hey, Scott Larson, everybody that's coming in. But yeah, we still got time, man. We're gonna roll on. But Christopher Burton, man, Okay, what caught your heartstrings, man? What grabbed you, man, in this wrestling arena, man? What grabbed you?
Man,
what pulled you in?
I gotta say, it was Hulk, man. It was Hulk when he beat the Sheik on Main Event.
Right.
And that was about 84.
1984. Yep.
84. Yeah, man. And now, don't get me wrong, I was watching wrestling before then, but that's what really caught my eye.
Right. Right.
That's what really caught my eye. Like I knew about Magnum TA, I knew about Dusty Rhodes and all them, but that's what really caught my eye was Hulk Hogan, man.
Yeah, you were 7 years old too, and you know what? That the atmosphere around that event, the atmosphere around the WWE, and that's when they was basically changing. And pretty much Hulk Hogan, he was for the kids and everything like that. So it's understandable that happened, because I remember when you first told me that, and you was a big Hulk Hogan fan, but then I was like, wait a minute, now he was young at that time, so I understand, because I was a teenager when that event happened. I was 17 years old when that event happened. So it really wasn't a big deal to me. I was upset that Hulk Hogan wasn't the Hulk Hogan that I grew up with. The Hulk Hogan that I grew up was the Thunderlips character from Rocky 3. That was Hulk Hogan. That's how Hulk Hogan started. That's how he acted. And I love that Hulk Hogan. Even though Tony Atlas used to be whooping his butt and, he used to lose other matches and stuff like that, he had that, always bragging about his big pythons. And, he was, he had that superstar Billy Graham type thing. Even though I thought he was biting, he was, which we call biting guys, copying other wrestlers. He had turned it into his own gimmick. He had Classy Freddie Blassie was his manager. I love that. You coming out with the big capes and all that. That what you saw on TV, what you saw at that movie Rocky 3. That's the way he was, and he changed that and became, he became this vitamin salesman and this preacher, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't stand it. I was like, this big goofy joker man. I was just like, oh my god. But you know what? I was smart enough to know that it was going to work. I knew it was going to work. I knew it was going to catch on. I was like, this guy's going to be bigger than Flair. I said he's going to, and you know what? That was one of my fears. I love Ric Flair. I said he's going to be bigger than Ric Flair. He's going to be bigger than Dusty Rhodes. He's going to be bigger than the NWA stars because of his gimmick. Now, you had these guys. Now, New York was already in the Mecca. They was already in Mecca. They was the business capital of the world, man. So, yeah, they had Bob Backlund, they had Bruno Sammartino. Even though those guys, I know a lot of people from up north and everything think Bruno and Bob Backlund and all them, they was bigger than Flair and all them. No, they wasn't. Only wrestler that was up there in New York that was bigger than them was Andre the Giant when he showed up there. But he was an NWA guy too. But Andre would go up there. But no, they had the biggest region in the world, and they was on USA. So they went on USA. And they had great wrestling. In my opinion, that's when right before Senior had gave it up, they had great wrestling, outstanding wrestling on USA. I love watching it. And, Jimmy Snuka came from the NWA. I mean, Jimmy Snuka was outstanding. They had some outstanding wrestling. Tony Atlas was up there. Rocky Soulman Johnson, great wrestlers. Hulk Hogan was up there. And Tony Atlas went up there. Hulk came from Florida, NWA Florida. They had some great wrestlers, outstanding talent. And Hulk Hogan, would he ever got to – I was happy for him. Would he ever got to where he got to? No. No. He was making a lot of waves in the AWA, and Hulkamania pretty much started there. But Vern Gagne never was going to get the AWA to that status. Never. Hey, he was maybe got as close as what Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling was in Georgia, but he never was going to get to that status. So when Hulk went over there, I liked it because I said, man, this is going to be a coup for wrestling. This is going to make wrestling blow up. So I did like it, but I did not like you changed my Hogan, Vince McMahon, and that's one of the first things I got mad. I'm like, you changed my Hogan. I love the old Hogan. I loved him. I love the Thunderlips Hogan, and like I say, he changed his name as far as for Rocky, but I love that Hogan. With Classy Freddie Blassie is one of the best managers ever. I was just like, man, you changed my Hogan. Why did you do that?
Man, he was better than the Grand Wizard, man.
Oh,
Bless.
Yeah, well, no, he wasn't better than the Grand Wizard. Grand Wizard and Grand Wizard was great, man. Those hats and all that stuff. The Joker look.
Glasses,
man,
yeah.
I love the Grand Wizard, but yeah, that's one thing I give WE. They had some great characters as far as their managers go. Man, with Grand Wizard, Classy Freddie Blassie, what's the Lou Albano. Captain Lou Albano.
I used to love Captain Lou.
Yeah, they had some great characters. Bobby Heenan went up there after he had left the AWA. But I mean, Bobby Heenan had, he was back and forth in the 70s up there. But man, yeah, they had some great managers there. 100%. The managers there had more character than the ones in in the NWA. The managers in the NWA and AWA, they was more serious. They all seemed evil. Like, you know, they you know, the guys in the WWE had that evil look to them too, but they had that funny side to them. But the guys in the NWA, they just seemed like they all wanted to kill you.
Let me show you how deep I was in the Hulk Hogan as a kid.
Okay.
Now, I had all three of these items, guys. And this is real talk. I had all three of these items. I had that life-size action figure. I had that.
I had it. Box it, boy. Beat it up.
I had that. And then I had the that actual Hulk Hogan action figure. I had that one. And then this is what's gonna kill your hair right here, man. I had the Hulk Hogan workout set, dog.
Goodness sake, man. I remember that too. I remember that on the shelves, man.
Boy, I got that as a kid, man.
Goodness sake, boy.
When I tell you, I was trying to when I say I was trying to get big as Hulk Hogan, but I wasn't playing, boy. I really was. I really was. I was trying.
Marshall Vandal cracking up, laugh out loud. Chris, yes. Hey, man. Hey,
I was, man. I was trying to.
He captured America, man. And I'm, you know, black, white, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, whatever you. Yeah, he captured the heart of America's families and kids. He did. Yeah,
man. I did, man. I really wanted. I was trying to get that big, man. And see, and my mom. Now, this is what my mom did. For Christmas, I said I wanted one of them wrestling ring sets. You know what I'm saying? And WWE was a thing. I was like, I gotta get that WWE wrestling ring. I gotta get that WWE wrestling ring.
Right.
And I ain't gonna lie, I was disappointed. She got me a wrestling ring set, and it came with the Road Warriors. You know who it was?
Who?
AWA wrestling ring set.
Oh my God, man! Wow.
I was like, "What is this?" I was like, AW American Wrestling Association. What? I'm like, this is some knockoff, some fake. This ain't real. Well, you got to think, man. All I knew was NWA and WWF.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I knew.
We did not get we got AWA back then, but you had
later. It was
late at night, ESPN.
Yeah,
you know.
And so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this is some knockoff. I'm like, maybe if I turn it upside down, it's supposed to say NWA or something. And I'm turning, and I'm like AW. I'm like, man.
I would have thought it was generic too, Chris. I wouldn't have thought it at that time. I was 17. I knew what the AWA was.
You know, I'm in elementary school, man. You know, I'm young, and I'm just like, the only good thing that came about this, I got both of the Road Warriors. That's it. And I was like, and I was looking at it, and I was like, wait a minute. The Road Warriors don't even look like the Road Warriors.
Right.
I was like, what is this?
Look, my thing about I remember back then, and I remember you know, the merchandise and everything, as far as WWE putting out their merchandise, and yes, NWA followed it, and AWA, even NWA stuff looked generic compared to the AWA stuff. And you know, I was seeing it in stores. I'm like, man, this compared to the WWE stuff, WWF stuff, it does not look the same. It does not look as good. But the AWA stuff was real bad. When I saw they got into it, I was like, wait a minute now. I'm like, your stuff look real bad. Vern Gagne, man, and Vern had some money. Now he made a lot of money out there in the Midwest, but they was going down at that time. Vern was mortgaging his lake, his house, and everything. He owned a whole bunch of big lake there. It was on like 300 acres or something like that, man. Huge. That's what kept him afloat for a long time. You know, that he kept on mortgaging off pieces of that lake to banks and things like that. But man, I'm just like, man, but Vern Gagne made a bunch of money back in the 70s. Like 400, you know, back in like 1970, he was getting paid $400,000 as champ $400,000 as champ. And then him and Nick Bockwinkel kept switching that title back and forth. But that title used to bring that type of money. The NWA champ title would bring $500,000. I don't know what that'd be in inflation today, but I'm sure it's probably a couple million, probably if not more.
Of course.
Inflation. But they made a lot of money. So Vern made a lot of money doing his wrestling time that he was wrestling. But hey, he couldn't overcome all the losses that he had back in the 80s. No. That was horrible. That was horrendous.
No, he going on.
All right, Marshall Vandal says, "I have the Tiger." Tiger Marshall Vandal, Real American, came out to Fabulous Freebirds. All right, yeah, Fabulous Freebirds changed. They changed from Leonard Skinner's Freebird to when Michael Hayes, I think, in 1984. They changed to Michael Hayes' song, But before that, they was coming out to Leonard Skinner. I like that. That was pretty cool, but they couldn't continue doing that, coming out to Leonard Skinner, because I don't think Leonard Skinner actually charged them for that at first. But then they got on that copyright law. All right, James L. Sup, Harry and Chris. Whatever happened to gimmick in AEW that we grew up? The only one that doing gimmicks, not character, NXT. That's why I like the show, because you, Joe, Chase U, Joe Gacy, etc. I hear you, James L. Appreciate you joining us, James L.
Chase you, boy.
Chase you, boy. Boy, Chase you, boy. Joe Gacy, my man. But like I say, they need to go ahead and get that thing straightened out between him and Kevin Owens, man. Him and Kevin Owens need to team up as brothers, man. And then me and Chris, they hook up with our boy down here, Cooper Housley. Like I say, the Owens boys. All right, James L. Cody Rhodes is a character, American Nightmare. That's why people believe in him more. That's true, James L. No doubt about it. No doubt.
Hey, matter of fact, Harry, man, check this out. Harry, check this out. That right there came out with the workout set.
Yeah, I remember that. Who had this thing, man, besides you?
I don't know, but I had it, but I had that. I had that, dog.
Not my immediate family, but I mean, not my brothers, but one of my cousins or somebody had that thing.
I had that, boy. I had that, boy.
I was like, wow. I think I seen it in your house too.
I know I had one of the dumbbells. I got one of the dumbbells. That's the only thing I got left of it.
No, I seen it in somebody else's house, but I know I seen something in your house, but it's probably the dumbbell. All right, James L. Cody Rhodes is okay, we got that. Marshall Vandal, Laugh Out Loud. Chris, yes. Jacob Henney, before people, we had action figures. Before phones, we had action figures. Jacob Henney, WWF Toys, or Mr. Perfect, Laugh Out Loud. Even they, had Mr. T, WWF action figure too. But yeah, that was part of it. Jacob Henney, I like Rick Rude as a kid. He stood out for me. Marvelous ladies like him. Mans want to be him. Smooth kiss tights on face, Laugh Out Loud. He is so ravishing. Man, he used to get on my flipping nerve when I first started seeing him. But then I got into him because, man, of his wrestling ability. And then I did because, he could look good and still be slim like that as a muscle man. Most guys had a lot of mass on him, but he was cut. He was mostly cut. So I definitely got into him more because of that. Jeff Samuel, Sub Harry and Chris, the wrestler that stood for me was LA Knight. Yeah, Jeff Samuel, you wrong for that, man. He can talk, he can act, and he's so over. That's now. But past, I could say Goldberg, dude, was larger than life. He definitely was. But man, this LA Knight thing, man, you got me on that one. Jeff. That ain't LA Knight, yeah. But I guarantee you a lot of kids love that Joker boy. I know a lot of kids love him. I'm just like, as far as what Hogan goes, as far as wrestling, man, the way I look at wrestling and the way I looked at it back then, who's good for the sport? Who's good for the sport? Even if I hated them, are they good for the sport? Now, Shane Douglas, I don't think Shane Douglas drew a dime. So, being Chris hating him, I don't think that guy could pull in anybody when it boils down to it. But
I don't think that Joker could draw money at a free show.
Yeah, but if you go back to the way wrestling used to run, the regional system, LA Knight, if he wrestled in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling, the Florida Championship Wrestling region, or if he wrestled over in Hawaii or Portland over there, if he would have wrestled for one of them, he could have been a regional champ, and he would have been huge. No ifs, ands, and buts about that. Braden says, "Hey guys, what's up, Braden? My man is in the house.
Braden, what's going on, man?"
Yeah, Jeff Samuel said we need gimmicks back. No doubt. Jeff Samuel, how about Jeff Jarrett, Harry, and Chris? In your opinion, Laugh Out Loud, man. Jeff Jarrett, He's good, man. He's good.
Yeah, he knows what. I mean, he's good at what he does, man.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Jeff Jarrett out of wrestling, he got every single thing that, you know, he got his due. He got his just due when it comes to wrestling. Every single thing that he should have got, all the accolades that he should have gotten, and was, you know, I can't say it was given to him. He earned it. He really good, really good. So I got to give him credit. Is he one of my favorite wrestlers of all time? Is he one of the reasons I kept watching wrestling? No, because in my opinion, there was already Jeff Jarrett before Jeff Jarrett. You know, so but Jeff Jarrett, yeah, very good. All right, Jeff Samuel, AJ Styles and AWA would have been incredible. Him versus Ricky Steamboat. Yeah, of course it would have been. I would have loved it. I would have loved that match.
Oh, Harry. And I also had this right there, Harry. I had that right there.
Oh, what a Mr. T-Dog, yeah.
Mr. T action figure, boy. It wasn't no dog.
Mr. T action figure, man. It was a dog still, but yeah.
Boy, no dog, boy. No dog.
Thank you, Mr. T action figure. Okay, man. Okay. Chris, okay, man. I'm sorry.
But could you imagine, man? Could you imagine if I would have known what I know now, if I had that still boxed up to this day, how much that thing would be worth?
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. All right, Jeff Samuel said, laugh out loud, yes. Jeff Samuel says, Mr. T. Yeah, Mr. T. Goddamn. All right. Brayden says, of course, I'm young, so I can't give childhood experiences about the older guys, but from old clips and matches that I've seen, probably one that stood out to me would have been the Rock and Roll Express. That was one of Chris. That was on Chris's list. That was his third one, he said. I think that was the second one. He said Rock and Roll Express. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. Man, look. My man, Brayden, Rock and Roll Express was a phenomenon, man. Yeah, they were incredible. I was a teenager at the time when I first saw them, but look, man, it was like watching Larry Bird, man. It was like watching Dr. J. It was like watching Walter Payton, Barry Sanders or whatever. When I first saw the Rock and Roll Express, I was like, them guys, small for a tag team. Now they will be a big tag team. They will be good sized guys because they're bigger than the Young Bucks. They're bigger than Pac and Penta. They're bigger than most of the tag teams today, to tell you the truth. But back then, they was considered a small tag team. Of course, they're not as big as you, because I know you've seen them live now. We see them live now. They're older now, so they're not as big. But they would have been considered a big tag team today. But they was a small tag team back then. But when I first seen them, their teamwork and the things that they would do, the double drop kick, grabbing each other, man, slinging each other, slinging guys the rope, and grabbing each other's hand and doing certain things. The way the camaraderie was like, they were like Run DMC in the ring, like Run DMC, the way they went back and forth. That's the way those guys, they how fluid they was in the ring. It was a beautiful thing to see. So, yeah, they was incredible, man. It had the teeny boppers all over the place, as Ric Flair said.
Teeny boppers in their training, bro. Boy.
Teeny boppers, man. But they had men, women. Everybody loved Rock and Roll Express, man. And that feud that they had with the Midnight Express went on for years, but it was incredible. And that's what I'm talking about. Long storylines. They had a feud with the Midnight Express and the Horsemen for years. And that's what I'm saying. If you book these things right, man, you could have some incredible. You could have some incredible. You got incredible talent today. That if it was booked right, they could do so many things. But we are on this. We on this now. Give me more. Give me more. That's the generation that we own. As far as, and I'm not talking about because it's Gen Z or the millennial generation. I'm talking about Gen X. I'm talking about every generation. I'm talking about the wrestling generation. The era of what we're in now is that, the generation that we're in now is that, hey, give me something different. I just saw those guys wrestle. Give me something different all the time. No doubt about that. But Chris, I gotta go. We're gonna have to be leaving in just a little bit. I gotta go and pick up wifey. But Chris, what you got? You want to talk about
but like I said, it was Hogan.
Just a minute, guys.
Hogan was the one that really caught me. Rock and Roll Express and Dusty. I really didn't catch on to Dusty until I got older. That's when I really started catching on to Dusty when I got older and he started making sense. Even though I watched him when I was younger, I didn't understand it, like I really do when I got older. But yeah, and the only reason I like Dusty because I couldn't stand Flair. A lot of people couldn't stand Flair, so hey, anybody who was against Flair was all right by me.
When I first met Chris, I was saying
I don't care if it was the wino down the street. He's like, I'm fighting Ric Flair. Then you all right by me. Then you my man.
Yeah, when I first met Chris, Chris, I think Chris, we was all Chris, me, you, Samson, Dre, and I think what's our boy, man? You went to school with him, Jail Man.
Oh, Jamie Slater.
Jamie Slater. We was all there talking. We all was talking. We talking about wrestling, and everybody was I think you asked me who's my favorite wrestler. We was all saying who's our favorite wrestler. I said Ric Flair. You like Ric Flair? You like Ric Flair? Well, you were just like, but it was all over you, boy. But you dealt with it. Well, Chris said Hulk Hogan. I said Hulk Hogan. I'm like, who down here like Hulk Hogan? This is Greenville, South Carolina. This is Greenville, South Carolina. This is not no doggone Utica, New York. Hulk Hogan. But
that's how I felt about Ric Flair, boy.
Yeah. Chris he was into that WWF, man. And look, you know what? And I thought back to it later on that day. I thought back. I said, wait a minute. The reason he likes them, say he's young. Him, Samson, they're young. They both Samson liked him too, and Jamie Slater did too. And Dre was into both. But I thought about your age. I was like, wait a minute now. Wait, he's 10 years younger than me, so it's a little difference here. But yeah, guys, we're gonna have to get off in just a little bit. But hey, right now I'm gonna stay on for a few more minutes. But yeah, we're gonna have to get off. I got to set up for the night, 7:30, guys.
Yes, it's gonna be an amazing show.
Black wrestlers of all time, and we're gonna have special guests on here.
Contribution to professional wrestling.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about old school. We're going to talk about new school. We're going to talk about now, fresh school, of these old school black wrestlers, celebrate Black History Month. So we're definitely going to talk about that. I definitely got to get that thing set up. And I got to go pick up Wifey here in just a little bit. And I got to work on that. But, man, we definitely going to be doing that. Jeff Samuels, Laugh Out Loud, fire. All right, man. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get these last comments, Chris.
All right, Jeff Samuels laughing. Chris, I had Terminator action figures. Wow.
Oh,
hey,
cool.
Man, I had Terminators. No, I didn't have Terminator. I had wrestling action figures. I had obviously G.I. Joe, the small ones, not the big ones, the small ones.
Mm-hmm.
I had Thundercats.
And the Green Army Men.
And obviously, the Green Army Men, everybody had them. You get them at the dollar store.
Yeah.
And let me see. He-Man. I had He-Man, obviously.
What about Stretch Armstrong?
I think I had one Stretch Armstrong. I tried to tear him apart, though, see if it worked. And I finally did after I had to punch some holes in him. And that's the only way I could get him to tear apart. I had to punch some holes in him. But yeah. Yeah, man, but I had all that stuff, man. Jeff Samuel, Harry, that not bad live stream. Which actors stood out to you in movies that stand out? Oh man, that'd be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, it would. I tell you what, Jeff, I would get into that, man. But like
that'd be a whole nother podcast, man.
Podcast up, and I want to talk about a few other wrestlers real quick. I'm just gonna name some names real quick, and but we're gonna be getting off in just a little while. But Jeff said, I love Rock and Roll Express, no doubt.
Yeah,
James said, thanks to Jim Cornette for signing them. That was our Hardy's, Harry and Chris. Yeah. All right. Jacob Henny says, Rey Mysterio stood out for me as a kid in WCW. Cruiserweight was epic. He was so different moveset. Him and Eddie was, but still watched as a classic to Eddie. Guerrero stood out for me. Imagine him manage Santos Escobar. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
If they got along, yeah.
That's true. Jacob Henny says Randy Orton and now stood for me, a WWE legend, Battle Hall of Famer, son of Bob Orton. Epic themes, something you never saw in ring. Jeff Samuel said, Laugh Out Loud, fire. Jeff Samuel, Booker T. Harry, first option, Laugh Out Loud. All right, Jeff Samuel, Ernie Ladd for Black History. No doubt about that, no doubt. But guys, look, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about some of these guys that I had on the poster because I know you guys seen that. And, I put them on there because they was basically in order of who was my favorites back then, and so I will go ahead and say a few things about them. I'm going to go ahead and name these guys very quick. Let me see if I can pull that up. All right, man, on that poster. All right, on that thing that I put in here. I had Cowboy Bob Orton, Cowboy Bob Ellis. I have him over in the corner. I have my man Mills Mascaris over in the corner. I didn't have enough room to put this in here. I had Paul Jones there, Rock and Roll Express down at the bottom. I had my man Andre the Giant, Chief Wahoo McDaniel, Brute Bernard there. Then I had.
I thought that was George Emerald Steel, boy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the beginning. You didn't hear at the beginning of a podcast. I had to tell everybody that was Brute Bernard, and he's the first wrestler that caught my attention. I was 4 years old. My brother watching wrestling. They started talking about this Brute Bernard, and that's where Chief J Eagle, you see it when he get that yeet, and we walking around, bouncing around like that. He got it from. Remember, he said he got it from Brute Bernard. Brute Bernard used to bite the turnbuckle, and I turned around. I thought he was crazy, and he would bite the turnbuckle, he would bite his opponents. But George the Animal Steel was just like it, and he was a copy of Brute Bernard. Brute Bernard was before him. All right, down here at the corner on the right hand side, I have my man Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan. Great tag team, man. Really, really shocking how brutal, how good they was together. I got my man Junkyard Dog here at the bottom. One of the guys in the 80s. I put that up there because Chris said that's one of the ones that started him off. I got Paul Orndorff and Jimmy Snuka, 1978, 1979. They were the NWA World Champions. Jimmy Snuka, one of the guys that really caught my attention. One of the first guys that caught my attention in the 70s. Outstanding wrestler. Paul Orndorff wasn't that good. Jimmy Snuka carried that tag team, but they was outstanding. Dino Bravo down at the bottom. Dino Bravo. A lot of guys might remember him. But Dino Bravo was so great in the 70s. 75, man. First time I saw him, I was just like, wow, incredible.
Shit,
I thought he
Dino
was the best wrestler I ever seen.
Well, man, what about Ivan Putski? Boy, you didn't put Ivan Putski on that, boy?
No, man.
But him and Dino had some amazing matches, though.
I couldn't put everybody on here.
Hey, but him and Dino had some amazing matches, man.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan down here for Chris. Got, like I say, Rock and Roll Express for Chris. The Anderson brothers with those double belts. They got the old United States heavyweight belts before they brought them back, Chris. They had the United States Tag Team Championship belts and the World Heavyweight Championship belts. They were great. Those guys were outstanding. That's Ole and Gene, guys. I know a lot of you guys remember Ole and Arn, but that was Ole and Gene. But those are the guys in the 70s that caught my attention because I started as a fan in the 70s. So I went to that. I didn't get to the 80s. We can come back to this podcast one day later on down the road, and I can go over about the people I see in the 80s and the 90s that really kept me going. And we'll talk about the people that keep me going today as a wrestling fan. But, hey, this has been a great podcast, man.
Oh, yeah.
And appreciate you guys joining us. But, yeah, definitely I got to get out and go up there and pick somebody up. I got to go pick my wife up. She's at work, so. But, hey, Chris, any last words, man? Before we
man, I'm just excited, man. I'm just ready for the night, man, because tonight, guys, you definitely want to tune in, man. 7:30 Eastern, 8 o'clock, 8:30 Pacific.
7:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, 7:30 Eastern time, and but guys, it's gonna be a great show, man. We're gonna have some special guests on.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be amazing conversation, man. It's gonna get to go down memory lane, guys. And remember some of the greats, man, that ever did it, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, and let's see. Let's go. We're going to get these last comments. And I see Jeff asking, they asking, know this, know that, if we don't, certain wrestlers. Jeff Samuel says, see you later on. I can't wait to hear Chris. Jeff Samuel. Oh, yeah. Andre the Giant. Very good one, Harry. That dude was true. Was so large. Manager was scared of him and kids. Yeah. All right. And Jeff Samuel, Undertaker stood out for me. Last one. Thanks, guys, for last. Yeah, he stood out. When he was Mean Mark Callis in WCW way before he got up there.
Yeah, when he was doing the heart punch.
Yeah, man, the guy was outstanding. Marshall Vando, no Roddy Piper. Marshall, love Roddy Piper. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure if it was 1979 or 1980 when I first saw Piper. It was either 79 or 80 when I first saw him. I was in fifth, sixth grade. So I can't say that I only listed guys from the 70s for me because that's when I started. Chris started in the 80s, so I listed guys from the 70s that I liked. Roddy Piper, I think, was 79. I was about to put him on here, but it was 79 or 80 when I first saw him. I'm not sure. I think it was early 1980. It might have been. I think it might have been the summer of 1979. So if it was the summer of 1979, then he deserved to be on here. But I didn't see him till like the end of 79. If that was when I first saw him when he came to the Mid-Atlantic. James L. cracking up. Marshall Vandal, special guest, owner of Pie Company, Chris.
Man, no, man, with no pot company.
All right, but man, Jeff Samuel, Mark Calloway, managed by Teddy Long. Yeah, we saw him mean Mark Callis before he was managed by Teddy Long. He was just mean Mark Callis, and he would go out there and he walk in the ropes. We saw him before that, and then Teddy Long got him and Sid Vicious, called them skyscrapers. So yeah, we saw him a little bit before he got with him, before he got with Teddy. And Teddy was he was ref at that time. Jeff Samuel, Sid was his partner. Yes, Sid was his partner. Yeah, he was. But yeah,
after Dan Spivey though. After Dan Spivey.
Yeah, after Dan Spivey. Yes, he was. After Dan Spivey. But yeah, guys, hey, we appreciate everybody, man. We appreciate everybody coming in, rocking with us. Today has been a great day. I mean,
and it's just part one.
We're gonna rock, man. We just getting started. We'll be rocking tonight, 7:30. Jordan Strader Wrestling Family tonight at 7:30. All right, Jeff Samuel, Chris got skyscrapers as ringtones.
But y'all tripping, boy. I ain't got
no doubt about that. Boy. But guys, we appreciate each and every one of you coming in, man. And look, I don't know all the names right now. Jeff Samuel, my man,
James L.
Back. Jeff Samuel, James L. or whatever.
Scott Larson.
Bill Hazelwood.
Yeah, Bill Hazelwood, man. Robert Brown, man. James L. Ray Underwood,
Jeff Samuel, man, Ray Underwood,
Magnum coming in there, man. Rocky Shaw came in, man. Rocky Shaw came in. Yeah, Rocky Shaw was on Facebook.
Rocky Shaw came through?
Yeah, he came through. He was on Facebook. Rocky Shaw.
I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, Rocky Shaw did come through. Yeah, I was thinking about Rocky the wrestler. But yeah, Rocky Shaw came through here. Marshall Vandal, Jacob Henney come through. But I think we got about everybody. Ray Underwood, hey, we didn't get you. You know, we meant to get you guys, and we didn't get you. But we appreciate it.
Charge our minds, not our hearts, man, if we've got you, man. But guys,
no doubt.
Like I said, tonight, 7:30, man, we're going to be talking about black wrestlers and the importance, and the impact that they had on the professional wrestling business, man. We're going to have special guests on the panel, like I said tonight. So tune in tonight, man. It's going to be an amazing night, guys. And remember, tell a friend to come on in to the baddest, baddest wrestling podcast show in the world, a straight up wrestling show. And Harry, should we drop the bomb on the man? Should we drop the news on him, or we hold off? Should we hold off?
Hold on.
Yeah, you can go ahead and hold off. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna hold off. But most of y'all probably already know, but we're gonna hold off because we're gonna drop some hot news tonight. So you definitely want to come in and hear what we got to say, man. Not just about black wrestlers, but hey, I'm Chris Khan. I got an announcement, man. I'm gonna make an announcement, man. My name Chris Khan, boy. I got an announcement tonight, Harry. We got a night.
All right.
No, JL 7:30.
7:30. Come back and check us out at 7:30. We appreciate everybody coming in. But Chris, if there's another comment, go ahead and get that before we say straight up and get out of here.
Yeah, man. Jeff Samuel said, dang, time flies, Harry. Teddy was in the business that long. Yeah, man. He said he was over what, 40 something years?
Yeah, he been in the business a long time.
40 something years. And JL 7:30 Eastern, man. 7:30 Eastern. 7:30.
All right, yeah. We definitely see you guys at 7:30, man. 7:30 Eastern time.
Right.
We will be back on Rocking the House. But
yes.
Until then, stay straight up. Peace.
Peace.